me scared, you want me weak, you want me brain dead and asleep. You want us trapped while you all laugh behind the scenes. You want us sick, you think we're dumb. You want us blind and you want us drunk. You want us poor while you get more of everything. But you don't get to tell me what to think and what to do. No, you don't get to tell me what is true. 'Cause you're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the rules and you burn the books. And so I don't believe a single word you say. You're all liars, fakes and cons. Want you out and we want you gone. So don't believe this time you'll get away. You want us tricked, you want us numb. You want us scared and you want us numb. You want us shot and you want us fought in every way. You want our minds, you want our time. You want us framed up in your crime. I hope you know that it's time to go and we're taking names. 'Cause you don't get to tell us what to think and what to do. No, you don't get to tell us what is true. 'Cause you're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the rules and you burn the books. And so we don't believe a single word you say. You're all liars, fakes and cons. Want you out and we want you gone. So don't believe this time you'll get away. 'Cause we see la 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 all your lies. La 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 all your lies. You don't get to tell us what to think and what to do. You don't get to tell us what to think and what to do. You don't get to tell us what to think and what to do. You're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the rules and you burn the books. And so we don't believe a single word you say. You're all liars, fakes and cons. Want you out and we want you gone. So don't believe this time you'll get away. 'Cause we see la 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 all your lies. La 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 all your lies. 'Cause you're just liars, cheats and crooks. Change the rules and you burn the books. So we don't believe a single word you say. Want you out, want you gone. So don't believe this time you'll get away. We say la 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 all your lies. La 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 all your lies. 'Cause we say la 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 all your lies. La 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 all your lies. 'Cause we say la 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 all you guys. La 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 all your lies. 'Cause we say la 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 all your lies. La 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 all your lies.
I know that if Locals is telling me I'm muted, I don't know what the problem is. I unmuted the stupid thing. My guest is in the back. Our guest for the evening is in the back. Let me just make sure that I'm not muted now. Mute. Let me just give it a second. Can we hear it now? Hey, guys, I think, yes, muted. Better. Okay, we can hear you. There you go. Good, good. Thank you. I did. It doesn't matter. I was joking with Tracy as we were talking before the show. Like, the mic was muted when she came in, and I don't know what the bloody hell the problem is. Good evening, everybody. Barnes is not here tonight. There's force majeure. Don't worry about it. Nothing serious. But Tracy Beans, who is supposed to come in tomorrow, I just got an email. Everybody reaches me from many, many, many places. Okay, the audio's good now. Tracy was supposed to come on tomorrow for the 12:30 show, and I asked if she could substitute in at the last minute, and she said yes, and it's going to be amazing. Before we bring Tracy in, what I wanted to start with, before we get into the sponsor of today's show, we have to have a good laugh. We start with 5 Times August, Liars, Cheats, and Crooks. You can get the song on Apple, iTunes, whatever the thing is. Look at Tim Walz's wife. This is the turn the page lady. She eats the faces of children when nobody's looking. I'm just throwing that out there. Watch this cringe fest before we get into the sponsor for tonight's show.
Hey, Hope, Mom and Dad here.
Hey, Hoper girl.
Finishing decorating the family tree in the living room or in our family room here. And it's all of the handmade ornaments over the years. So we were thinking of you, and I just wanted to show you.
They posted this to Twitter.
Up about a couple of these, so I'll try it. Here you go. Take a look at this.
Look at those pretty sparklies you
2005.
there.
Notice he just talked over her like, forget it. No, I bet her voice annoys even him after however long they've been married for.
They're like snowflakes. Each one is unique.
My father said that to us growing up.
At Roxanne's house.
All right. And here's Gus, your brother.
Do you notice how he is systematically just disregarding her talking in this video? All right. Be quiet, woman.
There, he made us that one from basketball.
When he was dunking. So anyway, hey, Hope, we got the final one. You're going to love this. Toilet paper roll angel.
You made it. Do you see your little hands here?
Hands on the back.
Are the angel wings.
So here we go.
This is iconic.
Not on a real tree, but on this family tree. Oh, Dad got it on there.
Yeah, got it on there.
Joy to the world.
All right. There you go. I know you're missing
cutting her off 3 times.
Decorate your house for Christmas. We're thinking of you. Love you, Hope.
We're going to post that to Twitter because apparently we don't talk to Hope in real life. People, when we say that America dodged a bullet with Kamala, they dodged the ricochet bullet with what's her face? Oh gosh, Tim Walz's wife. I forget her name. Doesn't matter. All right, people, before I bring Tracy Beans in, if that video made you sick, well, then it's time to actually talk about our sponsor of the evening, Crowd Health, people. Crowd Health. Okay, so you all know that I'm from Canada. We have quote unquote universal healthcare in Canada, which means it's universally garbage for everybody. Come down to America, we discovered very quickly it costs an arm and a leg, but at least my argument is it costs an arm and a leg up front with health insurance, but you have it when you need it. And then the problem that I quickly realized is that sometimes they have these things called networks of doctors, and if the doctor or whatever is outside of your network, it doesn't get covered. And then despite paying, won't say how much we pay, but despite paying what you pay for health insurance, you end up having to go out of pocket anyhow in order to get something in a timely manner, or because it's not within the network and you don't want to wait. And then you find out, by the way, that when you pay cash, you end up almost paying what you would have otherwise paid by claiming it through the insurance, because they jack up the prices when you go through the insurance so that paying cash is almost more affordable. Enter Crowd Health, by the way. It's actually quite amazing. $185 a month for an individual. It is not insurance. And you're going to understand what this is. It's sort of like the give, send, go of health insurance or crowdfunding of health insurance, but it's not health insurance. You crowdfund or you contribute on a monthly basis. And when you have a claim, you submit it, and the community crowdfunds to help the individuals who are part of this community. $605 a month for a family of 4 or more. You get access to a community of people who are willing to help in the event of an emergency. You'll get access to telemedical visits, discounted prescriptions, and much more without doctors' networks getting in the way, which is what I've discovered when I had to go have the old Tinker checked out. Of course, you'll join the crowd, a group member just like you who wants to help with other people's unexpected medical events. Go to crowdhealth.com. Join the revolution. Get help with your healthcare needs today for just $99 a month for your first 3 months with code Viva. Crowdhealth.com. It's not insurance. So go look at it. It's an amazing concept. I spent quite a bit of time with the founder on a call because I wanted to understand what it was. And it's a system where members sort of build up credit, and you can choose to contribute to other people's medical emergencies, and you build up credit. And when it's your time, if you need to, people can go back and look at your credit to say, do we want to support that person? It's crowdfunding for healthcare, and it's out of the networks. They pay cash. They have a team that works with you. If you have a claim, they negotiate by paying cash. It's an amazing concept. It's an amazing system. Check it out. The link is in the description. Now, as I said, Barnes is not going to be here tonight. So we have Tracy Beans, who is going to be here tomorrow. I've tried to do my best boning up on Tracy Beans, who she is, and I couldn't find everything. And I get suspicious when people don't have a Wikipedia page. So I'm going to have to ask. We will not spend too much time talking about childhood, but we got a lot to talk about on the menu tonight. The obvious stuff, the alleged CEO killer. And I had to change it because I did realize in my description I said assassin and not alleged assassin. And I'm not trying to be glibber or defend anybody. The dude's innocent until proven guilty. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything. And we are going to talk about, I saw the comment coming from our locals community, the woman who has now been arrested for uttering terroristic threats or threats to mass shooting by saying deny, depose, would delay, you people are next, when she was on the phone with a frustrated call with her health insurance. We're going to talk about everything and more. Tracy, you ready to come in? 3, 2, 1. Bada bing, bada boom. Tracy, ma'am, how goes the battle?
Oh, it's well. Thanks for having me. I feel like less of a person now that I don't have a Wikipedia page.
See, there's levels of Wikipedia pages. You got like the legit ones. Mine is red. I don't know what red means. And then you have those who have a locked Wikipedia page and those who don't have one. But maybe someone will set one up now. Tracy, who are you? For those who don't know, I know people have been saying that we should do this for a long time. I know enough about you, but not everything. Like, who are you? What do you do? I mean, you go, please.
Okay. So I am now, as we sit here, an investigative journalist and the editor-in-chief at uncoverdc.com, which I started about 6 years ago because everyone was afraid to publish the truth about stuff. So I'm like, well, if none of you guys want to pick this up, then I'll do it myself. So I did, but I started in politics and activism and information sharing probably back in 2008. And I've been very active since then. I worked on both the Ron Paul campaigns. I did some work, all grassroots, of course, not like paid by the campaign, but just very seriously involved in politics. Kind of opened my eyes around 2001 when I lived in New York and 9/11 happened. And then they wanted to pass the NDAA, and that just really ruffled my feathers. So I've been doing this for too long. And was banned a bunch from Twitter, from X. Well, not X. I was reinstated on X, banned from Twitter, banned from Patreon, banned from PayPal.
For what reason was given?
There wasn't a good reason given. It was one of those vague, platform, manipulation. They banned me from Patreon because they said that I was involved with QAnon, which was untrue. They banned me from PayPal for the same reason. X banned me because of COVID and January 6th. I think that's it. And then I've been just, slowly making my way back on the X platform. About 2 years ago, I was reinstated there, and it's beautiful there now, sort of.
Let me ask just very, very quickly. Born and raised, what did your parents do? How many siblings do you have? And
Sure.
The other question was, is Beans your last name, your real last name?
No, my last name is Diaz, which I'm happy to share. It's not a secret. Okay, so I was born in the year 1980 on Long Island in New York in a town called Massapequa. It's on the South Shore of Long Island. My dad had his own electrical contracting company, and my mom worked for him until the recession hit. And then he started he was always a hobbyist, did a lot of computer stuff. As a matter of fact, he was one of the first people to program a chat program. So like my uncle had a hobby store and he was selling the first PCs, and he would use a modem to call my dad, and my dad would like talk to people at the hobby shop and sell him computers. So then he went into IT, and then, I went to University of Albany for 2 years. I was pre-law. But I got very sick and left. And then I went into computers, and I have one sister. And in high school, one of my boyfriends at the time, the phrase cool beans came out, and I hated it. And he started calling me Beans just to mess with me, and it stuck. So that's why you've got Beans.
Okay. The movie, it was a movie with the singer from Lonely Island, and they did cool. There was a whole shtick about cool beans, and then they had like the words coming out of their mouth. Hot Rod. It was Hot Rod and it was Andy Samberg. So you didn't finish law school, but yeah, so you have some legal education, but never practiced law.
I have no legal education. I have, your freshman and sophomore year of philosophy classes in U.S. history and English. But I am enamored with the law. Like, that's one of the things that just lights me up. I'm constantly covering law. So I should have probably continued.
And now someone says it's Franks and Beans, which I know the name is the name of your. I don't know if the show. I noticed some of the videos on YouTube were quite older, but I don't know if you're still with Frank. But Franks and Beans was from There's Something About Mary, and that's what the brother was saying was. Okay, very cool. So, how did you get into journalism? How did you get into Undercover DC? And then we're going to get into the shit that's going on in the world these days.
Let's talk about all the shit. I got into journalism way long time ago when I was living on Long Island still, and not politically and not, investigatively. I was writing for a local paper. I was writing for a local business paper. I always wanted to write. My parents told me that I could not major in English because I would never make anything of myself that way. I've always been, I think this iteration of me really kicked in 2015, 2016, when I was covering the WikiLeaks drops. I covered every single one of them. Everyone. And I'm not on YouTube anymore. I left voluntarily when they started banning everybody. So my channel's there, but I don't post there. Rumble for me. And so that's when I really got started, like, teaching people what the hell is actually going on in the world. Like, why is it important that Citigroup was picking Barack Obama's cabinet? What does that mean? People didn't know. So it was a lot of Bernie folks that came over and a lot of Trump folks that didn't really know the backstories. And then it just took on a life of its own. And I ended up being able to do it full time. And I started Uncover DC because when you're trying to get pieces placed that are, back in 2016 and 2017, talking about Spygate was very controversial. Nobody wanted to touch it with the 10-foot pole because supposedly the president was colluding with the Russians,
back in the day, I remember the WikiLeaks email drops and some of the stuff that never made any sense that people now think is fiction. The Podesta emails, the weird coded language in those emails. When you're reporting on that at the time, how I know that we were DMing about I won't even say people, but Frazzle Drip. I went down a dark rabbit hole and I said I had a bad night of sleep and some bad dreams, and I said I'm going to give up on that. But you're doing the WikiLeaks drop at the time, and there was the whole Comet Pizza business. There was the whole pizza related. What was it? A handkerchief with a pizza related map on it.
Yeah.
Real emails. How far down that rabbit hole did you go? What sense did you ever make of that coded language in those emails?
Too far. And it changes you as a person. It's, your one night was, probably about 6 months for me of just, I've literally vomited from some of the things that I researched. And so let's not talk about it today, but all of that was true. And, you used to get canceled and have people sue you for saying it, but it was true. All of the Comet Pizza stuff was true. It was true. So Alefantis used to stalk me on Vote. And
I remember Vote, VOAT.
Yeah.
Who is the person?
James Alefantis, the guy who owned Comet Pizza.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it was a crazy time, and it's not fun to talk about or think about, and that stuff goes on everywhere. And that's a great segue, Viva, into Diddy, if you want.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna get to everything. I'm gonna follow the chat. We have our designated subjects, but this might meander a little bit. We talked about the news last week that broke was Jay-Z added to the lawsuit with a Diddy lawsuit. The lawyer is Busby, who's a very reputable attorney who's not dropping bombs without having backup, so to speak. And the P. Diddy business. I think everyone's mildly familiar with it, but let's break it down. And where are you at with that? How you've been following this, obviously not just from day one, but from before day one.
Yeah. So, it's just the next iteration of Epstein, in my opinion, at this point. And there's a few reasons why. So Jay-Z was added to a civil suit, but you've got the criminal suit ongoing right now in the Southern District of New York. And there are shenanigans in that lawsuit. I don't know if you've read any of it or are familiar with any of it.
I'm familiar with some of it, but one of the things at the time, we touched on it a month ago, maybe, one of the things that I found interesting in that indictment, this is the Diddy indictment out of New York, is that it was talking about trafficking, etc., but there was nothing about underage minor stuff to it at the time, despite all of these very, very credible rumors, if not, poorly kept secrets. And it still seems to be the case. So, I mean, the indictment is that he was involved in trafficking. I mean, it doesn't not go deep, but it didn't contain some of the salacious allegations that some of us were expecting. But tell us what's going on with that.
One of the first filings in that case was a filing, because that's how they do it there. It was the lawyer for Diddy complaining about the treatment that he got. And one of the things that struck me was that he was saying, he was trying to get bail for Diddy, right? And he's like, we've been working with the FBI on this. We've been working with the U.S. attorney's offices on this. And for some reason, CNN and all these other media outlets show up with cameras on the morning that they raid his house. They knew where he was. He was keeping them apprised of his location. He was not traveling when they didn't want him to. If he did go somewhere, he told them. He was working with these guys, waiting for the day when he would have to probably turn himself in. But they engineered a very public and very televised arrest and raid of his home, right? They said that they held his kids at gunpoint. And I'm like, wow, doesn't that sound familiar? We've heard that before. And just the way the government handled it was weird. So that flagged me right off the bat, because if you're alerting the media first, they did that with Roger Stone. They've done that with Donald Trump. It's not normal. But it got really crazy over the past 3 weeks or so, because the government's saying that P. Diddy is trying to intimidate witnesses, trying to obstruct justice, and things like that. And Diddy's saying, no, I'm not. And
for the benefit of others, through not witness intimidation, but witness manipulation, which is what, like, the allegation was not that he was threatening any of the witnesses, but he was contacting them, promising them things, whatever. And that was the extent of why they argued it was necessary to deny him bail. And back in the day, Tracy, when Barnes and I were talking about it, we were making the same arguments. For someone who's a flight risk, cooperating, for someone who's a flight risk to come back, other people were hypothesizing that this man thinks he's protected and that he's actually not going to get charged, which I think is sort of superficial at the point where, or I say shallow reasoning, we're at the point where they're at, where I think he knows the jig is up and something's going to drop by way of a hammer, which is why his incarceration among the nastiest of prisons was not necessary, given the conditions that he was going to agree to for bail. What went down the last few weeks?
It's almost unbelievable. And it reminds me of another case in the same vein as this, in a way. They all of a sudden, there was this pre-planned, quote, sweep of the prison, right? They were looking for contraband. They said it was pre-planned. They were looking for contraband. Well, what the government ended up doing was having one of the people that were doing this raid at the jail actually interviewed, quote, everyone, and then interviewed Diddy, took pictures of his notes, went into his locker, Viva, took pictures of his notes, took pictures of privileged documents, took all of his stuff, not drugs, not any of that stuff, his legal file, his legal notes, and had them sent over to the prosecutorial team for the government, and then told nobody about it. It didn't go through a filter team. It didn't go through anything. It just went right into their hands. And so the next time that Diddy's lawyers filed for bond, because they keep on trying to get him out, when the government responded to that, in there were details there was no way they could have possibly known unless they had those things, which is what alerted his attorneys, Diddy's attorneys, to the fact that they actually stole, for lack of a better word, client attorney privilege materials and used them in a filing against him. So the lawyers throw their hands up in the air and they're like, what are you guys doing? How did this even happen? The judge looks at the evidence in a hearing that was granted to them and says, you know what, you're right. Take that stuff out of there. And it needs to go to a filter team now. And the filter team needs to identify whether or not the stuff in here is privileged before you guys can see it, have it, use it, whatever. Still denies them bond. But this is what the government is doing. Now, if you could tell me, because you're an attorney and I'm not, okay? If you have a solid case for the things we talked about at the beginning of the segment here, are you doing something as significant as this under the cover of a contraband raid that takes a week in the prison and then taking things that are labeled client attorney privilege and photographing them. And I mean, if you're the government, do you need that for your case?
Well, I've been having the pleasure, I guess, or displeasure in a way of talking to a number of people who are in prison, and they give you that warning that, this is a non-secure line. We're going to supervise this line, so nothing you say is private. If you're an attorney and you want the privileged line, you go through whatever system. And I trust that system like I trust, week-old gas station sushi. Yeah. My only question is like, what does he have now that they could possibly need from him on the inside when they've basically seized everything on the outside and everything in everything?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's almost like they're trying to throw this thing. Truthfully, why would you do that? Now, is that true? I don't know. That's a speculative.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. To taint it the way they did the Alec Baldwin case, where I think it was Brady violations in Baldwin that they ended up tossing the case and he walked free. Okay, well, actually, before we even open that door, from the get-go, there were people hypothesizing, and this was my theory at the beginning as well, that the investigation into Diddy was actually just a way to take control of the video evidence that they now have in their possession, much like the Epstein video evidence that they have in their possession. I had Ian Carroll on last week talking about this, and for someone in the chat who said nothing like the Epstein case, there are people who believe that this is the entertainment subsidiary of the Epstein political scientific subsidiary. What do we have any idea what they seized and who's in possession of the material and who is covered or affected by the material or involved in the material that has been seized right now by the authorities?
So the filings that have been made by Diddy's attorneys are heavily redacted, obviously. They're kind of at a stalemate right now because they're fighting over all of this. They took all of his papers. That's basically what they took. He had no contraband. Now, he's not innocent, okay? I'm not saying that he's in there, wrongfully imprisoned or anything like that, but he's innocent until proven guilty, which is why I was glad you said that in the beginning. It's true. And, he is kind of finagling the text system in there. He's using the email system to send people text messages. Like, he's doing some things he probably shouldn't be doing. But what could they possibly have that they don't have already, other than information traveling between he and his attorneys? And, where Jay-Z comes into this in this particular part is interesting, because there are a lot of influencers that we don't necessarily hang around with and tool around with, but they're, pop culture people covering this story. And like 2 weeks ago they came forward and they said, somebody is sending people to our house and they're offering us money to stop talking about this or to say the opposite of what we're saying. And they all went public with that. Somebody was offering them money to basically say the opposite of what they were saying and not bring certain folks into the conversation. Nobody could figure out. They said they were private investigators, Viva. Who were they working for? Nobody had any idea. Nobody could figure out who. They were being filmed. They were saying it brazenly out in public, right? And then Busby starts getting kind of attacked by the Jay-Z side. So Jay-Z
threatened for legal malpractice, threatened for extortion.
Yes. Yes. And this Busby releases a partial transcript of a call where guys are saying, if you'll go say this, this, and this, we will pay you on behalf of our client, which set off an alarm bell for me, because I'm like, that sounds really familiar. So here's what I think. I think speculatively that Diddy and Jay-Z are very much involved in this together. Jay-Z is doing everything and anything he can to keep this out of the public sphere. Now Busby comes in and says, we're adding you to the civil suit. Whether criminal charges will follow, we have no idea at this point. And it is really kind of a survival of the fittest to keep this stuff out of the hands of the public so that they're not exposed to the public and then suffer those consequences as well. But it all ties together. And the shenanigans in the Diddy case are bad enough that I don't know if you ever heard of Joshua Adam Schulte. Have you ever heard of him?
Let me Google it while you tell us who Joshua Adam Schulte.
Yes, Schulte.
Joshua Adam. Let's see who comes up here. Okay, the case study, Joshua Schulte, former CIA officer, sentenced to 40 years in prison for espionage and CP crimes.
Yes.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, he maintains to this day he didn't do it, but they accuse him of leaking the Vault 7 information to WikiLeaks. That was the CIA basically hacking tools that they used. And he was in jail in the same prison that Diddy's in right now, right? He was representing himself and also had a public defender because his case was super complicated. So he needed to be able to represent himself to talk about some of the particulars. He actually won the first time. It was a mistrial the first go round when he represented himself. Just let that sink in for a second. But he had a laptop that they gave him to prepare his defense. He was only allowed to look at that laptop in a skiff inside the prison, right? They maintained control of that laptop at all times. He went into the skiff. They have to strip search you before you go in there in the prison. Make sure you've got nothing on you. They give you the computer in the skiff, then they leave. They actually put another charge on him for having child porn on the laptop in the skiff that was given to him by the government. Same exact, like it's almost, it reminds me so much of that case. And that's only one of the like nefarious things the government seems to have done.
It was Cheryl Atkinson, right? Who talked about how the FBI threatened or was planning to either they threatened or were planning to plant child pornography on her husband's laptop. And I mean, as if we think that they haven't done it. We also know that in the Jones case, what they said was that Jones had sent CP over to the defendants when in reality, people were sending, when he turned over all of his computers, from what I understand, he had been getting emails with stuff in it that he hadn't even opened that were in the junk. And some hypothesized that it was strictly a setup to get him in trouble and to let the media run with that headline. So, but okay, now let's sort of tie the loop to this. The FBI agent who gets sentenced for this, he was the one who allegedly is behind the Vault 7 leak, which Vault 7, was that the one that was revealing how the intelligence was going to take over cars and crash them for assassinations?
There was some of that in there, but it was really the hacking tools that the CIA uses. So it was all their information about hacking. He worked for the CIA. He was basically blowing the whistle about the lack of security at the CIA with he had an inspector general investigation ongoing at the time. Basically, their passwords were like password 123, and he was the security guy. And he's like, "You guys can't do this. This is crazy." But they pinned this leak. Now, I personally don't believe it was him. After reading the 7,000 docket entries in the case, I don't believe it was him. But the way they treated him is the same way that they're kind of weaseling around with Diddy here and the kind of the shady stuff they're doing, except they wanted him. And I think they're throwing the Diddy case.
It's interesting. Yep. Well, yeah, as in, it's an amazing idea. Some people were hypothesizing. Let me get this chat. This is Maureen Brown. The timing of his incarceration prior to Trump's win is the most suspect part of the case. Not necessarily prior to Trump's win. The raid on Diddy and then the celebrities with, I mean, I know it becomes something of an internet meme and we're playing like 1 degree of Kevin Bacon where everybody is 1 degree off of Diddy to some extent.
Yeah.
But the timing of it and then the celebs that came out of the woodwork to endorse Kamala Harris, either for payment or for favor, you can connect those dots or you can choose not to, but the dots are definitely there. And then if they got what they wanted or needed, politically speaking, they've seized the evidence, much like they've seized the Epstein tapes. No one's going to see them until they need them to be used. And then Kamala Harris loses, and now they want to throw the case for Diddy and get him out, allow him to get out the same way Alec Baldwin got out for violation of civil rights and whatever.
It's just one angle of what they might be doing, seriously. But I cannot understand why they would need to do this unless there's something that he has that they want and they're looking for whatever reason, whether it's to make it public or keep it for themselves, I don't know. But there are very few reasons why a qualified government team who does this for a living all day long, they're criminal, they're prosecuting criminals, would do something this
egregious.
Abhorrent. Yeah, it's just.
And unnecessarily so. So for the time being, there's no underage accusations, allegations. It's RICO charges for sex trafficking. There hasn't been a superseding indictment as far as I know.
No.
Okay. So none of the underage stuff, despite the allegations. The civil suit with Jay-Z and P. Diddy. Who was it again that filed that suit? I forget his name now.
The attorney?
No. It's a Jane Doe in the civil suit, and that's
and Jay-Z's trying to unmask her. He's trying to force her to go public. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, go for it.
No, I mean he's literally victim blaming and attempting to get this woman doxxed. I don't think he knows which one it is. There probably are several of them that he's wondering which one it is, or he's trying to ruin the girl's life. It's a terrible thing that's going on right now, and they're threatening everyday people with cameras in their face. So, yeah.
All right, that's wild. Now, by the way, this is I don't know what currency this is, but don't anyone think that's a $2,000 super chat? And I don't know if it's supposed to be glib, like, but there was no basement in the Comet place, and therefore you know that I think it's glib. But the Comet Ping Pong Pizza cannot be true because the place had no basement. That was the talking point. Was there a cellar in that thing or in that place?
Yes, there's an interview where he takes people through a tour of it from years and years ago. Yes.
Tracy, give me 1 second. I'm gonna let my dog out of the room here.
Okay.
Get out. Okay, Tracy. Someone in the chat said the dog. It's. One day I'll get a studio, but I'm not sure if I want a studio. One day I'll get a dog door in that door. One day I'll get a better chair. Did you ever watch Jablinski games back in the day when Jack Black, who I can no longer look at because of the things that happened after the assassination, he had his channel and it was called Jablinski Games, and every one of the first like 12 episodes, he was going to get to gaming, but he never actually got to gaming, and then he finally got to gaming. But one day I will get a new chair, a gaming chair that'll be comfortable, and an adapter where I will not start every show muted. The drones, are you following the drone story?
Oh my gosh, don't.
No, I won't play the entire thing. I won't even play the video, but Rogan reposted this guy, a 9-minute video, a drone manufacturer who works in intelligence, hypothesizing that, and I think it's the only theory that makes sense for the time being, that the drones are out there sniffing. He doesn't know for what, but they're out there sniffing. Some people are saying if they're out there sniffing, why would they be out at night with their lights on? I don't know how closely you're following it or if you're investigating it on your own. I think the consensus now is they are, in fact, real not unidentified, but unaccounted for drones. Some people were filming planes and some people were saying, oh, there's no drones. It's just idiots confusing them with planes. There's drones. The government's admitting it. They don't know whose they are. There was some Republican guy who came out last week, said they're Iranian drones coming from a mothership off the East Coast, which I think has been thoroughly, not debunked, but is thoroughly preposterous. Mayorkas, the dereliction treasonous traitor, comes out and says it's not Iranian. We don't know what it is. And my underlying theory is that some people are saying PSYOP, but that doesn't. Here, hold on 1 second. Chase Hughes has a good video about them being a PSYOP. In what sense, though? Because the PSYOP could be they know what they are, but they're telling you they don't. There was a 9-minute video of a drone expert manufacturer who's working with intelligence, says he thinks they're sniffing. And I think that is the thing that makes the most sense, given the fact that it's not hard to take down a drone. And if they were not government drones, the government would have taken them down. What's your understanding of where this is at? And what's your personal opinion?
There's a lot there. I've been following this since about 2 weeks ago. Hardcore. It's so intriguing to me. I have to ask you a question, though. Do you know how big decades-old nuclear warheads from Ukraine would be? And wasn't it Russia back then?
Well, so people were saying, yeah, why would there be nukes in Ukraine? Some people are saying, from what I understand, like there could be nukes that could be as small as a large briefcase.
But didn't he say they went missing like years ago?
He said the guy. Well, I should play some of the video so that nobody thinks we're crazy here. Hold on, it was. Let me see here. Not crystal ball. No, I got a lot of. Here we go. CEO drone manufacturer. Well, let's skip to the part where he's talking about
to the highest levels of our government.
Okay, so he works for the government
project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night.
Okay.
Really? Okay. Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics.
Okay, well, this is
gas leaks just simply because
the gas leaks.
Whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow.
Okay, he's talking about what they could be looking at
all to help this gentleman raise the alarm.
Here we go. This is it.
Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm
about missing nukes from Ukraine.
That there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now.
I think it was in the beginning that he said.
Yeah. Here, let's.
Back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing.
So that ended up in Ukraine, ended up missing. He says, the guy that I know put his hand on one and he sounded the alarm. It went missing. Nobody knows where it is. Do I doubt that there are unaccounted for nuclear warheads?
How big are these things?
I think they could be relatively small. Let's see.
From
here.
the 80s?
How small is a nuclear warhead?
From the 80s. From the 80s.
A nuclear warhead can be as small as a few inches in diameter to a couple of feet long with some design. Or let's see, from the suffice to say, let's say it's big enough. But the bottom line is here: a typical nuclear warhead from the 80s could be roughly the size of a basketball with this is from AI, with a diameter of around 11 to 12 inches and 2 to 3 feet deep.
Okay. So then you've got to fly these drones only at nighttime with their lights blaring everywhere to find a basketball-sized nuclear warhead that was stolen from Ukraine and is on its way over here.
I think now forget that. That guy's theory is just like one of the things they could be looking for. My bottom line is I believe they're sniffing for radiological potential.
Why?
Maybe because somebody might have come over come over from the southern border or even from the northern border. Forget the southern border. Maybe one of those 1,000 intercepted terrorists have brought over some dirty bomb and they're trying to look. Why would they go at night? Maybe less traffic, so less distortion, less pedestrian traffic. What makes
you think that? Like, why did you go there first? Before you heard that guy, what did you think?
Oh, no, I thought it before that guy, actually. So I'll say if I turn out to be right, my tweet's like a week old. I went there because first of all, it's inconceivable that the government would say that they're not government drones and then be incapable of taking down at least one to identify where they come from. Like if they're Iranian drones, it's not rocket science to take them down, not with a shotgun or lethal fire. It's easy to take them down. They it's easy. They say, oh, we went out with our drones and then these things disappear. They don't have lights on. So I don't believe that they're foreign. I believe it's sort of a domestic operation that they can't disclose the purpose of for the time being. Whether it's the purpose is strictly psyop to confuse people and to create a news cycle issue, I don't believe they're foreign because I believe that one would have been taken down if only by, what's the word I'm looking for? An entrepreneurial citizen. So I believe it's government. Then the only question is, what are they doing?
The government told us that they're not theirs. They're not a foreign adversaries, and they're not like a nation states. So they told us those three things.
Well, but at the same time, that's the thing. They said they are foreign and they're not foreign at the same time. It just depends on the different branch of government.
Yeah, so they're lying to us, period. So are we going to choose to believe that they're not our, if we choose to believe one thing, don't we have to believe everything? So are we going to cherry pick what the government's telling us to kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe literally anything they're saying at all.
True. They are lying. That's for certain. Now, and I listen to a lot of Bongino, and Bongino says, well, nobody wants to look stupid. So by virtue of the fact that they're saying we don't know what it is, they must be doing that begrudgingly. And I say, no, I take it from a different angle. They don't mind looking stupid if it's temporary. It's sort of a Machiavellian strategy. They know that they can't say the exact reason for which they're doing this because it will highlight their incompetence or corruption. Or maybe it's just a pure distraction operation. In Canada, by the way, during COVID, the government said COVID's a good time for us to test propaganda techniques. And in Nova Scotia, they were running a story, a propaganda story about wolves running wild in metropolitan areas. And so if it's just a pure distraction, fine. But I think that the reason why they're not saying what it is, despite the fact that they know it's not foreign, is because I think it would highlight a grotesque lapse of security. And they don't want to highlight their incompetence for the incoming administration. For one reason or another.
That could be true. They did that with War of the Worlds, by the way, back in the 40s here in the United States, and over and over and over and over again. I mean, everything is propaganda for us here. Everything. I believe literally nothing. And that's the problem. Another thing to that video before we skip that, because there's a lot there. That guy, I looked him up. He's not listed as the CEO of any of the companies that he says he's the CEO of on their pages. That doesn't mean that I'm saying he's not.
No, but that's it. Well, first of all, why didn't I see? This is journalism. Ask the obvious questions. The first question, is he who he says he is?
It may be that he maybe he's like the undercover CEO. I'm not writing him off completely.
No, it's a fair question.
His LinkedIn does say that he's the CEO, but I mean, I could say I'm the CEO too, and on my LinkedIn, and nobody would say anything.
Do you have facial recognition software? Do you have access to any?
Me?
Yeah.
No. No.
Is it MZ about do due diligence and you're a lawyer or a journalist? Oh no, but the thing is, like, sometimes like that video just popped up and like there's so much.
Well, I mean, it's viral. It's viral at this point, right? He has a room. He looks like he's in a museum. I just don't trust anything. That's a problem sometimes because I trust nothing, right?
Mhm.
But that video has, this is the problem with the state of things as they are now. I was saying it on Friday. Literally, one of those things could land and little green men could get off of it and come and say, we come in peace. And everybody would be like, the government's trying to get us to think aliens exist. And the aliens could be there like, we're real. This is really us. We're here. And the people would be like, oh, goodbye. We're never going to know what the truth of these things actually is. Ever.
Well, unless now I have a very, very sinister secondary concern that it might be that I get very dark. If it might be the government trying to set up a situation where in the future a drone is used to carry out a very nefarious purpose, and then they can say, oh well, it was inevitable. It shows a weakness, and we can't stop foreign drones from flying over us. When Trump is out on the golf course and they have that Ruth guy who's hiding in the bushes, and everybody thinks like snipers and people with guns are the risk. Anybody who's has access to a drone can understand what the real risk is. And on the one hand, if they were going to try to set up a pretext where something could happen and they're going to say, look, we couldn't do anything about it when they were flying over New Jersey. What do you expect us to do when they were flying over Mar-a-Lago? And so my concern, and I hope it's relayed to the Trump team, is this looks like it could be astroturfing or laying the brickwork or the groundwork for a drone attack somewhere between now and, say, inauguration. And they can say, "Oh, we couldn't stop them. It's a new technology, and we're they're ahead of the game. These Iranian, Chinese-made drones." Or there is actually something radiological out there that has been carried over the border that might be implemented between now and up to and including inauguration day.
The way I look at this entire thing at this point is this: there is nothing that anyone is going to do about any of this, right? Let's pretend that's true and they're sniffing for radiation or for a nuclear warhead. Like, you fearing it and running around scared about it and getting stressed out about it. Like, nobody ever makes any good decisions from a place of fear, ever, which is why they try to keep us that way 99% of the time, in fear or anger or fighting. Nobody can ever make a good decision from there. There's nothing that you personally can do about it. So at this point, I'm doing this. It's getting ridiculous now. Like, now I'm seeing craziness go on, and I feel bad for people because you don't know what to believe because they don't tell us, and that might be the whole point.
There's no question about that, because one way or the other, if they're sniffing out for a nuclear bomb or something terrible, they can't say it. That would cause public panic. Flip side, if they're just testing out drones and whatever, don't tell anybody. This has caused a week's worth of a news cycle about people looking up in the sky. The only good thing about it, people are looking up at the sky for the first time ever. They're noticing that there's sometimes an aura around the moon. And you never know if it's parody. You never know what to believe, and you never know if an account is parody. Like, what's that ring around the moon? And it's an actual beautiful phenomenon that occurs, especially when it gets cold. But my money is on. It's an operation. They know it is. They're looking for something or someone. They're out at night because there's less traffic, there's less pollution, there's less interference. And the one big question is, if they're out trying to do it discreetly, why are they running with the lights, the FAA lights? Like, that was the most idiotic premise of their Iranian, China-made drones that are abiding by the FAA requirements for red and green lights on drones.
Yeah. Well, they also, I mean, there are, if you want to really go down a crazy rabbit hole, which I have fun doing, go over to UFO Twitter and look at what they're saying about this stuff. They're saying everything from these are ships that are cloaking themselves to look like actual real things that we have here on Earth. Like it is a wild scenario out there right now, no matter where you turn. So we're never going to be able to get to the bottom of it. And sometimes people, you know, government actors will pepper that into whatever they're trying to do on purpose to discredit everything at that point. Like what we started the show off with. So,
well, and you say like that video has gone viral. I think it's the Rogan effect. When Rogan retweets something, by definition, it goes viral. Total tangent, because I've been struggling with how I feel about this. You saw that Rogan tweeted out that country blues singer who made the United Healthcare song. Have you seen this?
no.
I might have. I don't know if I can access my Instagram via. It's the guy. The song went viral on Twitter. Let me see if locals, if you can get the video of the guy, and I'll bring it up. It's a country singer playing like sort of a, you know, like a not a banjo, but I wish I can get it. It's a country song that's about United Health, about there's no you in United Health, there's no me in company, and talking about the greedy healthcare companies or health insurance companies. And Rogan retweeted it. And I'm torn as to whether or not that's celebrating the alleged assassin. The song is good. I mean, it's the guy's got a nice raspy country voice. The song is good and catchy, but I feel that it's sort of glorifying what's now becoming a social movement around Luigi. You know what? We'll talk about Luigi, and I'll pull up the video. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think Rogan is giving the wrong type of attention and creating the wrong type of lore around the assassin by celebrating a guy whose song seems to celebrate the incident, albeit, you know, the song is about greedy health insurance companies, and it could have been written a year ago, and maybe it was, but I don't think it was.
The most ironic part of all of this is if the government just would have kept its freaking paws off the healthcare industry and off health insurance.
Because this is what people are telling me, like Viva, it's actually an assault on Obamacare. Flesh that angle out, because that's what a lot of people are saying, that this is not, you know, the reason why the health insurance companies are doing this now is directly related to Obamacare. I haven't been in America long enough to have known what it was like pre-Obamacare versus post. I just know that my health insurance guy always complains about Obamacare.
It's subsidized by the government. And it's mandatory that you have it, right? So anytime anything is subsidized by the government, you're going to get waste, fraud, and abuse in there. So like, for example, everybody has to have, quote, healthcare under the government. So they can, and it's such a complicated thing. Basically, what's happening is insurance companies are refusing to pay on claims. Hospitals are billing for a bag of saline. They'll bill like $2,000 because there's a certain amount that the healthcare companies have to do. It's just a racket. The entire thing is a racket. The health insurance industry here in this country worked so well before it was mandated on people to have it, and it was subsidized by the government. You used to be able to pay $20 for a copay. You had a very normal costing insurance plan. Your employer would cover some of the cost and hold it for you, and you would cover some of the cost. There was no like tax deductible, you know, refund at the end of the year. So for example, the government, let's say I have a family of 4, my health care plan would cost $2,600 a month, usually. The government says you don't make enough money to afford that, so we're going to pay X amount of dollars for you. And then at the end of the year, when you file your taxes, if you made more money than you say, then you'll owe us back. But it's basically the government handing out money to insurance companies under these, and then the plans are wildly inflated in cost because the government's going to take care of the rest of it. And then for them to not pay out and keep more money for themselves, they decline all procedures that are necessary. They act with impunity because nobody holds them accountable, because now you've got a subsidized relationship between the government and the health insurance agency or industry. And the hospitals know that they can probably bilk a good amount of money out of these insurance carriers. It's caused mayhem everywhere in healthcare, everywhere.
Here, I got the song. The guy's name is Jesse Wells. He's a songwriter. I just don't know what his history is like, but here, I'll play some of it.
There's an office and a building and a person and a chair, and you paid for it all, though you may be unaware. You paid for the paper, you paid for the phone, you paid for everything they need to deny you what you owe. There ain't no you in United Health, there ain't no me in the company, there ain't no us in the private trust. There's hardly humans in humanity.
Okay, that's the idea of the song. I won't play the whole thing if everybody wants to go find it. And so Rogan retweeted, said the song is fire, and
that's
I don't know. Like my feeling is that I'm not calling the guy a grifter whatsoever. He might have been an activist beforehand. My feeling is that is, it's creating a lore around the assassin, and it's
I wouldn't share it.
And the song goes on. Everybody can look that up. So now, the news of the day is, and so the news of the day, Luigi Mangione he was arrested last week, or detained. Some people questioning whether or not it's the same person based on the space between the eyebrows of two different pictures. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, officially, all that we have is a video without a face being shown of the shooter killing Brian Thompson. We don't even know if that's Luigi there. He's secured a very high-profile criminal defense attorney. Her name is Kathy Friedman Agnoli, who used to be an assistant district attorney for 30 years, like 3 decades, who has experience in sex trafficking prosecution, I presume, who's at a law firm where her husband is the attorney for P. Diddy.
Yeah.
What do you have you dug further into any of the players in terms of the attorneys? Like the kid comes from a very rich family, so they're going to get very connected, high-powered defense attorneys, as everyone is entitled to.
Yeah, I don't think it's weird that 2 attorneys are married to each other. Like, that doesn't flag me. That's common. So it doesn't flag me right off the bat. I don't know how there could be a connection between the two. I saw a lot of people talking about how this dude is somehow connected to the Pelosi family. But I haven't even really dug in too much there. I truthfully thought either he was schizophrenic and had a break because he was dabbling in like natural, like psilocybin and stuff like that beforehand. Or he didn't do it. Those were the 2 options. Either he's nuts or he didn't do it. I didn't think there was very much in between there. But the chick that you're talking about that said those things, I have to say, nobody should go out and kill anybody. Nobody thinks that. But also, insurance companies are killing people with their decisions. And people get very frustrated when they need life-saving care and they're denied it because some pencil pusher has some certain algorithm they have to fit into, and their actuaries are telling them, no, you have to act, certain number of procedures. So I think that this murder has brought a very big microscope over the insurance industry at this point and healthcare in general, and that's why we're getting all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem with that is that, I mean, first of all, people have been complaining for a while. Everybody always has been complaining and comparing between Canada and the States. On the one hand, you pay up the wazoo for insurance in the States, and it has its own problems. And if you're poor, you can't afford it. And on the other hand, in Canada, you pay up the wazoo if you're a tax-paying citizen, and you still end up dying in the ER after 14 hours. And I'm not being hyperbolic.
I know.
My issue is like I qualify. Whoever did it, I qualify this as an act of terrorism if it is indeed motivated by revenge for policy. I mean, it's the definition of targeting citizens to cause terror to enact political change. I do err. I'm on the side of what you're saying because he was reposting some Huberman stuff about psychedelics, psilocybins, and I've known a couple of people who snap and become forever either manic bipolar or just forever detached from reality, or it's not him. Period. What I loathe is trying to say it's terrible, it's an act of terrorism, but the industry is really terrible because that's the terrorist rationale for, blowing up a bus is bad, but it really highlights Israel government mistreatment of Palestinians. That is the rationale for terrorism.
Yeah, you can't pretend the insurance marketplace in the United States is not terrible, though. Like, if that's going to be the conversation and you don't want to play into that, just don't talk about it at all, because that's not an excuse. I don't think any sane, like, we're not Taylor Lorenz, right? I'm not Taylor Lorenz. I'm not that. And I think most sane people can tell the difference between saying insurance sucks and you shouldn't murder people. Like, it's pretty cut and dry. You should never go out and murder anybody, ever. But the insurance industry also really does suck. The two are not mutually exclusive.
No, but the only thing is, it's the but. It's the conjunction. There's a lot of things that are terrible, like, period.
End.
End. And the legal system is terrible. The hospital system is terrible. And there's no but. You don't go kill people, period. It's terrorism. But we're going to go over to Rumble in a second, actually, and not out of fear of anything. I wanted to make one last connection. it is true. I don't think there's anything weird that P. Diddy's lawyer is married to another high-profile lawyer. Where I get very curious, Tracy, is that you have P. Diddy's lawyer, the husband, whatever his name is, Angelo,
Yeah.
who is defending a man accused of sex trafficking for now, and I think it will be superseded by something more sinister if he does not get Epsteined in prison. And his wife used to be the DA with experience in prosecuting trafficking. So you have someone being defended for what his wife has extensive experience in knowing the network, knowing the players, and knowing the potential loopholes. And so that's where I think there's an angle that they can be exploiting mutually, where her expertise in prosecution becomes a value added in his expertise for a defense, given what Diddy's accused of. She's also a very, very progressive, TDS afflicted, liberal activist attorney. And so I can see where there could be room for connecting conspiracy dots there.
So I was trying to connect the insurance case to the Diddy case with what you were saying, like, because she took on the insurance killer, then there was some tie between the two cases. That's why I
was just thinking, well, because I'm Googling her name and then I see the same name as defending Diddy, then I'm thinking, and then I find out that she's progressive, she's connected to the left. She's connected to the Midas touch.
If she was progressive and trying to prosecute sex crimes, I would be scared, because they tend to be very lenient towards things. They tend to be
the Lincoln Projects, is what they tend to be.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna everybody get your butts over to Rumble. I'll give you the link. You can come over to Locals, but we have the Locals supporters only all night long, because everybody can watch it for free on YouTube or Rumble, and then we have our after party, which is supporters only in any event. But it keeps the chat among local supporters, which is nice. Let me bring up a bunch of these Rumble rants over on Rumble. I pulled your picture from your Twitter avatar, so I hope it's a good one. I like the picture.
I'm like 20 pounds lighter, but thank you.
Well, if I figure if someone uses it for their avatar, it's a. Plus, I was running late. Squeaky Wheel says, to me, the drones matter seems to be an Ocean's 11 type looky-loo distraction. Con. Okay, and then we got Efits says, I can't believe you didn't figure it out yet, Viva. They are drone fishing. I used a drone to go fishing. It was the best day of my life. Cheryl says, is it legal to do preemptive pardons? I believe the consensus is you can do preemptive pardons. Well, for sure you can. I don't think there's any legal dispute that you can't give preemptive pardons, blanket pardons for crimes that may or may not have even been haven't been charged for. So the blanket pardon for Biden for 10 years of potential criminality is, I think, legally unassailable. And then we got Crash Bandit, who says, Viva, look into Project or Operation Broken Arrow. History of the U.S. dropping, losing live nukes. It's crazy. I remember the movie Broken Arrow with Delroy Lindo and Christian Slater. But Tracy, holy cows, I'm going to get goosebumps. It's the most flashback to my childhood. So I've been suggested that I have mild OCD. And we were out for dinner at the Cheesecake Factory in 1995, whenever that movie came out. And it's before the internet, it's before cell phones, relatively. And I couldn't remember the name of the actor, Delroy Lindo. And I sat at the dinner table. I couldn't talk to anybody. Everyone was like, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, I can't remember the guy's name. So I had to call up Movie Land in Montreal, which was a place where you could rent movies on Green Avenue. And then I called them long distance, no cells. I got to go use somebody, landline. And it was Delroy Lindo. So I never forgot the name.
Wow.
All right. On that note,
95.
I'm 1 year older than you. I was born in 79.
Okay. So you were 16.
And John Travolta, yeah. And but it might have been earlier, because I think, okay, hold on. Let's just OCD again. What year? Broken.
Oh, I'm going to mess with you the rest of the time now that I know this. 96.
I'm damn good memory is what I have. Oh, no, Tracy, it's everybody knows, but like I what is it called when you in addition to catastrophizing, obsessing over things. Oh God, 30 years later, I still obsess. Okay, what we're going to do now, though, we're going to end it on YouTube, and we're going to end it on Twitter, and come on over to Rumble. And it doesn't change anything on our end. We're just going to go like this: YouTube, Rumble, Viva Fry. And make sure I don't do anything stupid. Go to Twitter and end it there as well. Okay. What were we going to segue into? We got to set oh, for goodness sake. So, Luigi, there was a natural segue into the next subject matter of the evening.
Which is what?
Oh, terrorist threats. There it is. What? Did you hear? What's going on? Someone's coming in here. Ethan, what are you doing? The kid seems to have lost the remote control. The uttering death threats. Did you hear about the story in Florida of the woman who was on the phone with her insurance company, gets angry, and then before she hangs up says, deny, depose, delay, you people are next. And then she got charged with terroristic threats and threatened to do a mass killing. Here's a mass shooting. A woman has been charged with threatening a health insurance company by repeating the words allegedly engraved on the bullet casings of Brian Thompson. Brianna Boston, 42. She's accused of saying delay, deny, depose, you people are next, while speaking on a recorded line with Blue Cross Blue Shield representative about a denied medical claim. She's from Florida. Judge set her bond at $100,000. Following the phone call, local media reports the detectives in Florida appeared at her home. People need to understand the Pot Brothers at Law advice. Shut the F up. I don't care if you're guilty or innocent. Don't talk to the cops. Listen to what she said. Police said okay, hold on. She reportedly told the healthcare companies played games and deserved karma from the world because they're evil. She said that she used the words in connection with Mr. Thompson's killer because it was in the news right now. And it goes on. So the moral of the story, number one, don't talk to cops for any, until you get a lawyer. You saw the guy who shot down the drone or shot at the drone, talk to the cops, and he's gonna not be in a better situation because of it. And the question is, though, whether or not she deserves this, whether or not it's an actual threat, a terroristic threat, to have said, delay, deny, depose, you people are next.
It's a threat. That's a threat.
I'm having trouble. I'm very much a proponent of free speech. And I was listening to, I won't play the video, but a criminal defense attorney saying, if it were a week ago, there would have been no issue.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because a week ago, delay, deny, depose would not have been associated with an act of murder. Whereas now it is. And so you can't say it's not just a generic, non-specific term.
Well, they're going to need to find a murder, like, some kind of premeditated. I mean, the only thing they can get her on is terroristic threats. There's no crime that's been committed other than her being angry and saying something in anger. Her defense is going to be, for me, it's just a generic, term of defiance. And when I said you people are next, it meant the public scrutiny that's going to come with what's going on with United Health. But as far as, I am very much a proponent of freedom of speech. And, the threat has to be specific. The legislation, as it's drafted, it's drafted in a way where that it seems to meet the definition of the Florida statute. And there really is the analogy that I was thinking of was when people say from the river to the sea, and then other people say that that's a call to violence and that's a call for genocide. And some people could say, well, I don't understand it that way. I don't necessarily know the political or historical origins, and so I don't mean it in a term of genocide when people say it in support of Palestine. And I think there's a better argument for that than for this, because that has a broader, looser political connotation, geographic location. The delay, deny, depose, you people are next, is directly referencing, in a moment of anger at the exact circumstances, the alleged motivation of the alleged shooter, who allegedly, wrote that on gun casings or bullet casings after having killed an individual for, those reasons. So why did he set her bond so high?
What the judge said was kind of bad. It's like, nobody should expect to get away with this. And she's a 42-year-old woman with no priors, as far as I understand. And $100,000 bond. I mean, from what I understand, she'll put up 10% and get bonded out on the rest. But that's a high bond. I mean, that seems very high.
Yeah,
for someone of her.
Is there anything we're missing?
I don't think so. I think she just said too much when the cops came. She basically admitted that, yeah, I said it. And instead of it's on record. Don't say why you said it, and just think, get a lawyer and say, yeah, I had no idea that it meant a direct threat. I just heard it in the news and thought it was the term of defiance.
The crazy thing is that book title, the last word of it isn't even depose.
What is the book? I mean, what was the? I know that he's referencing roughly, but
I don't know the name of I don't know the last word, but it's not depose. You can probably search delay, deny, and then leave it blank.
Delay, deny, defend.
Yeah.
Is that the book?
Yeah.
So the three words etched on the killer's things were delay, deny, are reminiscent of delay, deny, defend. 3 words long, associated with the private insurance company's mercenary mission to save money by denying legitimate insurance claims.
Yeah, but he said depose, and nobody really talks about that.
Well, maybe he misunderstood the purpose. That's not the right article. Hold on a second. Just to show the homework, what does delay, deny, depose mean? The leading insurance lawyer pulls back the curtain on the insurance industry. When is this from? Well, it's obviously after the fact. The 3 words, they were reminiscent of delay, deny, defend. 3 words associated with what private insurance companies' mercenary mission is. We certainly don't condone violence, but as public outrage against the insurance company has demonstrated, denying claims and then refusing to accept responsibility in litigation can result in violence. This is not to say there's no but. I'd be more sympathetic if it turns out this individual has a proximate connection to the wrongful, the wrongful practice. It will attenuate him snapping. But if it is just someone who's coming from an affluent family saying this is my cause of the day, and I'm going to be the hero, even though I've never been actually impacted by the unethical and potentially fraudulent or unlawful conduct, that changes things. But if he has a personal grievance with that personal company because of something else, that would explain it, but not justify it.
Yeah, agreed. I have a question for you. Actually, I'm so curious your opinion on this.
Go on.
How do you deal with, like, what do you think about when like crooks or any of these people go and do something absolutely heinous and terrible? Do you automatically, without thinking about it, dislike their family?
Do I assume something wrong must have gone on with their fam? No, because I've known people who have snapped, just like outright psychotic breaks, snapped, and notwithstanding anything in the family. You definitely ask them. Like when you look at a Hunter Biden, you do ask questions about upbringing and the more suspicious details that come in. Yeah, I mean, you have the reflex, but then you have to be fair to everybody because kids turn out well despite childhood abuse, and kids turn out badly despite the best loving parents on earth.
Like sometimes I try to put myself in their shoes. Like if somebody did something absolutely insane and you're just an innocent, mom or dad who, is sad your kid went awry and has been trying to get back in touch with them and whatever. Like there were people going through these folks' businesses and connection. Like they might not have done anything ever. And your entire life is being picked apart, and you're getting hate.
There's no. I saw a movie once. It was called. Oh, that's stupid. We need to talk about Kevin. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie with John C. Reilly and that Australian actress. And the movie from the cover looked like a rom-com, but it was actually a movie that was sort of an ode to school shootings. Except in the movie, it was done with a bow and an arrow. It was. Now hold on one second. Oh, what the family goes through when these things go down. It's terrible. It destroys everybody. That's the ultimate tragedy of all of these things. And then people try to look to the parents to blame them because you have to say there has to be a cause for this evil.
And they they prosecuted that one school shooter
out of Michigan.
Yeah.
The Crumblies. Oh, they prosecute the Crumblies, but not the crooks. The guy who killed Corey Comportore. It's wild. It's weaponization of everything, and they do it when there's a political purpose, and they don't do it when there's a political purpose. In our locals community, Ganthit, one of our members there says, hold on. Where is it? It says Viva. She said, Brianna Boston, 42, is accused of saying delay, deny, depose. You people are next. Per BBC, just saying delay, deny, depose isn't grounds for a threat. The next sentence, assuming she did say it and it's recorded, is why she was arrested. That's threatening murder. No, I tend to agree in terms of what you think by you people are next. If I'm going to be a sneaky lawyer, I'm going to say what she meant by you people are next is you're going to be the next ones under the public microscope, public scrutiny, and public scorn. I didn't mean kill anybody. That's the defense. But if she said, the more she talks to the cops, the worse off she's going to be. Have you ever had friends in high school, like, do any drugs and then totally snap and never the same people again?
No, but I've explored. I know people who have like done ketamine under supervision for depression.
Mm-hmm.
I've known people who had PTSD who have done psilocybin to treat PTSD.
Microdosing or
Yeah, and I've never personally known anyone who's had that happen. However, there are people who will like travel off to like the jungle somewhere to do ayahuasca and then leave their families and their kids and decide they're going to go live someplace else and become nomads. I've seen that happen before. Not personally, but I've known people.
That's what I'm thinking is that the kid, he might have been influenced, and I don't want to say that there's a bad influence of people talking about the beneficial effects of doing some of these drugs. I have an absolute phobia. Like I have had my bad experiences. And I still also might think that that's why, I think I was neurotic before any experimenting in adolescenthood, but I don't think it helped anything. Like if you're paranoid in general, it's not going to make it better. But I think a lot of people think, well, I'll do these things and it'll reprogram my brain. And then
I can't lose control of my thoughts. As soon as I lose control of what is going on and what I'm seeing and perceiving and whatever, I would never be the same again. I don't think I want to I've never dabbled in any of that. And I don't think I ever will. Never once.
And I got Jay Butters in our locals community says, one of my poor stepkids inherited some sketchy brain chemistry from his biological mom, and it just didn't matter how he raised him. His brain just functioned in a different way. The only real catch in this entire Luigi case is going to be if he's not the guy that pulled it. If he says I'm not the guy that pulled the trigger.
He's saying that.
Yep. And what he had, they're alleging that he had a 3D printed firearm. I'm calling bullshit on that.
They said did you see the clip where they talk about what he said when he was in court about the Faraday bag?
No, I didn't. I don't think I have that either.
Oh, it's a news report. I might have it. Hold on.
See if you have it, and talk us through why you get it. Like, what is he? I saw the video of him lashing out, saying this is unjust, yada yada yada. Because he's someone who's he might be genuinely mentally unwell, but it's conceivable also didn't do it, and he might be the easiest person to say he did do it because we know that he's mentally unwell, and no one's going to believe him because he's coming off as a schizo when he's being arraigned.
He was in court being arraigned, and the judge was going through talking about some of the things he was found with, and he speaks up and disputes the money, says it wasn't his, and also says that the Faraday bag was waterproof. Those are the two things that he said. It was very weird. I'm 50-50 on this, but I'm going to find it. I have it here somewhere.
Yeah, let me see. I'm looking through it as we get it here.
I can do more than one thing at a time like you.
Yes. Well, here, I got a CNN. Oh, let's see if this is it. A CNN report. Am I in? Did you notice that Twitter has changed to default dark mode? And I never knew that I loved it until they did this. Here, let's see. Is this it? A CNN report?
Nope, it's not. The guy's standing outside, like right after. He's standing outside of the courthouse.
I'll play this one while you try to find that one. Let's see if this works.
I'll note here is one of the most interesting parts that animated Mangione inside the courtroom. During the discussion of bail, the prosecutor detailed a lot of things we've been mentioning. The ghost gun found on him, the silencer found on him, but the prosecutors also highlighted about $10,000, $8,000 in US dollars, and then $2,000 in foreign currency that was found on his person. Also, they claimed that he had a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag used to conceal wireless transmission, say from your phone or laptop. Well, the prosecutor said that was an indication of criminal sophistication and reason why they should hold him on bail. Mangione actually said at the end of that speech by the prosecution, I'd like to correct two things. First, I don't know where any of that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. And also that bag was waterproof. So I don't know about criminal sophistication. Again, the thing that I'll note
that
here
bag was
is
waterproof.
One of the most...
Okay, interesting.
And then his attorney came out right after that, the attorney that he brought in to Pennsylvania, and said, I have seen literally nothing that proves that he's done anything wrong.
I can't pretend to even know if that gun looks like the gun that was used because the other video is too pixelated. I don't know if I want to say it doesn't look. The chat will tell me. Can you print a 3D gun and fit it with a silencer? No, I know you can print a gun, but why do I think you can't print a gun as easily to be fitted with a silencer?
When this started, they were saying that was like a gun from remember they were talking about it being like a retro gun that they used to use in World War II because that's what all the gun nerds were saying. I was reading all their comments, scroll. They were saying, oh yeah, the way it comes out of the gun because there's weight to the bullet or something. And then there's a silencer on it would cause that jam that you see there. And he's very proficient with this weapon. You can totally tell he knows how to use it. Go back to the gun bros and read what they were saying then versus what they're saying today about a 3D printed Either they're all stupid and don't know what they were talking about, or the two things aren't the same. I don't know.
And I'm going with not the same. I had on a Canadian lawyer, Ian Runkle, and he knows his firearms, and you've been following the Dexter Taylor case, the New York guy. Oh, he's the New York guy. I think he's 60 years old. He was a talk show radio host. He had a radio show, a podcast, engineer. an elder black gentleman with no criminal record who was assembling his own firearms through.
Yes.
I've had him on like a number of times. He's the one I talked to him a lot in the Coxsackie Correctional Facility, and they got him on ghost guns, what they call ghost guns, even though he's he's manufacturing them at home.
Isn't it
And they
SCOTUS
sent
now?
him. Say it again.
Isn't he at SCOTUS? Isn't his case waiting before SCOTUS?
No, I think it's under appeal now because it's under appeal. It hasn't gotten to the SCOTUS level yet. But no, they've locked him away for 10 years. First time offender, no criminal record. 10 years for this, or for a judge who said there's no Second Amendment in the court. But this seems like part and parcel of the attack now on 3D guns. They're going to go to try to ban. I mean, they've already tried to ban it, but that's
why. And I just have to say this because typically people, whenever I do stuff and talk, people expect me to be right and expect me to know exactly what I'm talking about every single time. For the past 10 minutes, I've been speculating about everything. So don't take everything I'm saying.
There's nothing wrong with speculating, but so long as the underlying facts are what you base your speculation on. And if you get some of the underlying facts wrong, that would account for the poor speculation. You can still be right or wrong, but no, but it's a look, and it could just be, it's him. He snapped. The dude comes from a prominent family and wouldn't buy a gun, but would instead 3D print it because he's an engineer. And, it was a prototype that he had.
I could have sworn that they said something about it's probably two different cases I'm confusing with each other. I could have sworn they said something about a serial number being missing. Obviously, there's no serial number on a 3D printed gun.
That was one of the questions that I had with Dexter, and now I forget what the answer was, because when they were talking about ghost guns, and I thought the components were serialized, and I think Dexter said that they were not, but I'm not.
Well, who's going to serialize it if you've got a 3D printer and access to one?
No, a 3D printer would not be serialized. There's no question about that. What Dexter was doing was building them from kits, and you would order the pieces and just assemble your own firearms. So I think the components there would
Couldn't
be
he
traceable.
just order plastic at that point and do it?
Yeah, for certain parts. From what you explained, like some parts had to be like machined steel and had to be.
So it's not just a plastic Nerf water gun or something like that.
No, I don't think so. But if you've seen the video of a person allegedly shooting at the drones, and it's either tracer bullets, and some people are saying it's airsoft pellets, but I think it's what's the word when you modify a video? It's an altered video, period. But I think it's a dangerous altered video to put out there because some idiot's going to get the stupid idea to fire a gun at a drone.
Like I said, people are saying reality is fake. People are saying real things aren't real. Like I had a thread of like things people are complaining about. Like, why did you film that through a screen shaking when you're zoomed in at X64? It has to be 30 degrees outside and you can't use your camera. Like people have a problem with every video that's coming out. They made this up. This isn't real. That's just a plane. We're never getting the story. Never.
I think we're getting it, but I think it's also setting up the pretext. They know that they've lost some serious arms, if only for what they left in Syria. It doesn't have to be a nuclear bomb. It could just be a sufficiently powerful bomb. Who knows?
Aliens.
But it is funny. For the last 2 years, they've been bringing up the UAP for no better reason. Organics. They had organics. Have you been following? I don't know how I only discovered this at like midnight last night. I was at a Christmas party, and on the way back, I'm reading that George Stephanopoulos and NBC agreed to pay $15 million to Trump. Okay, we're gonna do a little let me set it up so that people know what we're talking about. Trump sued Stephanopoulos and NBC or CBS, one of the three-letter agencies, for George Snuffleupagus' statement to Nancy Mace when he was shaming her, a rape victim, for supporting a rapist. And he says, you're supporting a man who was found liable for rape. Now, a number of people have been saying this on Twitter for a very, very long time, and I've been jumping on their throats repeatedly. Let me see here. Let's get one. Here's a good one. Mary L. Trump. You might remember her from such traitorous siblings, or not siblings, but relatives, stole Trump's private, tax info, published a book. She's forgive me for using the B word. She's the bitch of all bitches as far as it goes, and it's reflected in the spirit of her face. Because I think she updated her profile picture.
Oh my.
Yeah.
She's got RBF for sure.
She's got ABF. That's active bitch face.
Yeah.
Not nice. I would call him an asshole if it were. I'd call him a bitch if it were a man also. In response to the news, by the way, she puts out, how many coloring books can $15 million buy? Also, we're doomed.
Isn't that sad? How sad?
Do you want to know what's sad? Because I know I remember reading these things, and then you just have to go back and find them. This is Mary L. Trump. Actually, let's go to the first one. In September 2023, it's official. Donald Trump is the first man in the Oval Office to be impeached twice, first man in the Oval Office to incite an insurrection, first person to lose the popular vote twice. Well, he won it the third time, biatch. First person to be found liable for rape, first person indicted, and now the first to be found in fraud or whatever.
All of that's wrong.
Most
of it's wrong.
And then 4 months later, it says it again. And I just said, Mary, first of all, he was not found liable for rape, even in the civil court. And everyone says, oh, well, what is the second court? Yeah, he was found liable for sexual abuse. So then say that instead of lying, you freaking idiots. And then I said, it looks like Marielle is scared because she's next on the list. I need to get the Billy Baldwin one.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of people. I mean, that was election interference, and the hoops that judge went through.
Well, let's talk about that. This is not the right video at all. The hoops that Judge Kaplan went through. That was going to be the other starting video of a guy shitting on Elon for no good reason. But the Judge Kaplan, just so everybody understands how it came to be, the jury said no. On a civil preponderance of evidence, we do not believe that Trump raped E. Jean Carroll. They said, yes, we believe that he sexually abused E. Jean Carroll because that could be a smack on the ass if someone doesn't like it. It's a different criteria. It's still a total load of political horse shit. It's bullshit, but at least say the proper bullshit. What the Judge Kaplan came out and said, and it's so sick the way he did it. He didn't set aside the jury verdict. They have a thing called a Janov, a judgment notwithstanding a verdict or something. The judge could have set aside the jury verdict if he wanted to be overtly, unlawfully, corruptly, judicially corrupt. He didn't. He let that jury verdict stand and said, yeah, but under New York criminal law, it's the definition of rape is a little bit, it's so hard to prove and it's so specific. Colloquially speaking, he penetrated her digitally with his fingers, and therefore we could say he digitally raped her, as if that's even what the jury necessarily even said with the sexual abuse finding. And therefore we can say it's true that he raped her. Digital rape. I mean, he could have come out there and said also, and he spiritually raped her. So you could say that he raped her spiritually, and he economically raped her. And the judge did that specifically so that he would not have to deal with the jury verdict and just give the headlines to the media who says, judge clarifies. I'll find that when you're talking.
Yep.
Clarifies. He did rape E. Jean Carroll. No, he didn't. But the bottom line, Stephanopoulos, idiot that he is, comes out, loads the question to Nancy Mace like that, and then gets sued and they settle. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. So many thoughts. Number one, nobody knows anything. Nobody cares if they know the right things. Like, I've proven myself wrong dozens of times. And I set out to prove myself wrong on purpose because I that's what I want to do. I want to prove my initial thought wrong. Mm-hmm. That's my goal. That's number one. Stephanopoulos is an idiot. They've been untouchable forever. Forever they've been untouchable. Now they've lost political capital. They've lost capital in the culture of America and around the world. They don't have control over people's minds to the degree that they used to have control over them. Obviously, Trump is wildly popular and people get that this, they understand the specifics or they've educated them on the specifics, whether it be through TikTok or because they gave a crap enough to look for themselves. The only thing is it's a donation. It's tax deductible. Viva.
Well, it's a no. They probably donate that. They'll just donate less in the year. But this is the question. It's a donation. It's sort of an admission of culpability. Stephanopoulos nuked his Twitter account, just to clarify everybody, because I thought that was between yesterday and today. He did it about a month ago.
Yeah, he wants to go hang out with the Blue Sky peeps.
Oh yeah, they have a CSAM problem over at Blue Sky, and people don't seem to know what that means. Child sexual abuse material. He did nuke his account within a month, but it's not like he didn't know this was coming a month ago. So it's the timing is there regardless. But my issue is this: I'm trying to find my initial video back in the day when this lawsuit came out, because I said that I thought they were going to lose if this went to the merits, because they would be able to say, yeah, we were just saying what the judge said.
Don't they all rely on one article that was written where they said
they rely on the judge's footnote, mental gymnastics abuse, where he says He said it basically. He's, yeah, technically speaking, but close enough. Digital rape. And so
That's
this is
disgusting.
this is not parody. Yes, judge clarifies what in that jury verdict form required clarification. So this is what they all hang their hats on. And I said in my analysis, like, I think they're going to lose on the merits because all they have to say is it's substantially true, or at the very least, no actual malice because the judge said it. So then the question becomes, why the hell would they agree to the 15 million settlement and an admission basically of liability, or an admission of that's what I'm thinking. Because first of all, go for it.
Sorry, I get like this sometimes. I'm OCD like you.
Don't worry. And everyone in the chat's gonna say, so rude, she interrupted you.
I'm so sorry.
I'm joking, for goodness sake. Please. It looks good. What happened?
Look what happened to Fox News and to Newsmax and to OAN and to any other news organization that went through fighting defamation a la Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened to those people, and look what happened to all their journalists. And I think that they feel like going into a situation like this. Is everybody yelling at me in the chat?
Nobody's yelling at you, for goodness sake. No, but because by the way, I think we're in agreement on this. I mean,
really?
Well, I think the Fox News settlement, there's money laundering going on there because it doesn't make any sense. Period. And also, Fox is anti-Trump. So what's the? I mean, I don't even know what they're. I don't know who's paying who at the end of the day in that multi-shell game and corporate entity between Fox.
And they still got screwed.
Oh no, but this, I genuinely believe that there's a reason why they didn't take this to trial. I think they would have actually had a legitimate. I predicted it that they have a legitimate defense, at least in law. It wasn't actual malice because all they were doing was effectively reiterating the words of the judge. But they settle. It's true. It's a tax deductible, no sweat off their back type thing. But it's an admission. It's humiliating, and I think they did it because discovery would have revealed. What? I mean, it could have revealed collusion between Stephanopoulos and political entities.
Wasn't it a day after depositions were taken? What were they taking depositions for? They were taking depositions. It was Trump and Stephanopoulos that were deposed, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember that, but I'll defer to the aggregate knowledge of the crowd. I'm not sure about that. But
I think they were just deposed, and then the settlement came out the day after. But where were they in the lawsuit that there were actual depositions happening?
Oh, that's a good question as to whether or not they actually already had the depositions, but they hadn't been, they weren't made public, and so they settled right away. Well, I mean, incidentally, that some hypothesize that's why Fox News settled as well. But the difference is, by the way, this settlement makes sense, 15 million. The settlement in Fox doesn't make sense to pay 787 million of a $1.2 billion claim. That's a little bit too much of the amount claimed. No, I think this would have easily revealed collusion between political entities and Stephanopoulos. I mean, we know that he's a political hack. Not necessarily Pizzagate level stuff, but certainly political corruption and political collusion.
Adam Carter in the chat. He loves you, by the way. He's a friend of mine.
Okay, I thought it was like love, like hates.
No, he loves you. The judge just ruled that George had to sit for the deposition. That forced ABC to settle. I think they were trying.
Okay, well, it makes total sense. Oh, and by the way, let me pull up a classic one here. Billy Baldwin, I believe, is the one. Billy Baldwin, who might sue himself. This was November 14th, so just before the settlement. Trump raped E. Jean Carroll and sexually assaulted many more. Matt Gaetz is under investigation for sexual misconduct. It's amazing. It's amazing that they say those two things and don't understand the actual problem is not that they did it, but that's the go-to for the deep state to discredit people. Lauren Boebert groping a man who gives a sweet bugger all. Her only issue in that was having lied about it. She should have just proudly, given the middle finger from the beginning. Government subsidy, Elon King will lead government efficiency. Who cares about the rest of this? He might get sued now. I love it.
Didn't he just do an interview with Patrick Bet-David and say that they're selling off Diddy tapes to keep people safe? Didn't he just do that?
Billy Baldwin said that? Hold on.
Go, just search up his name. I'm nearly certain, but sometimes I make mistakes.
No, Billy Baldwin, PBD. Let me see. Was he on PBD? Billy Baldwin's unexpected rise to fame by Calvin Klein. He's an asshole. Stephen Hawkins, Rands. Oh, it was Stephen Baldwin. Looks like.
Okay.
It's like Stephen Baldwin ranks his brothers. Which Baldwin had this is
Nope.
2 months ago. Well, no, this is just a clip. So I think it must have been Stephen Baldwin, because I would be shocked if Billy Baldwin would have the balls to go on a show like that. No, so the defamation settlement, it makes sense if Stephanopoulos was going to have to sit down, because there's no question, like when he said it, I suspect he knew that it was factually untrue, but they had the judicial cover to make the statement. But if it comes out that he knew that it was factually untrue, but that he had already internally confirmed that he was going to do it anyhow, that might show the actual malice, and so they know that they're going to get cooked on a judgment.
It's Daniel Baldwin.
Oh, he's the good one, actually, I think.
There you go.
You believe there's an actual good Daniel Baldwin? There's a good Baldwin brother.
There's a lot of them. They're from Long Island, if I'm not mistaken.
All I know is that Billy is a piece of internet trash, and Alec is who he is. And I think it's Billy. No, it's
Steve.
Daniel Baldwin's the one who's been posting some. Who's the one that's been posting some very cryptic videos of him? Okay, so I was told that he's like, he's on the good side, but that he's a broken man from some dark things that happened to him.
Isn't he? He's Haley's father, right?
Yes. Okay. Hey, who's Haley?
Haley, Justin Bieber's wife.
Yes, there's the Bieber connection to him, and there's the idea that he's a broken man because he knows the dirty secrets.
I sent you the link to that clip about Diddy.
Did you do it in the private chat? Oh,
yes.
Well, let's bring this up then, shall we? Let me.
See, you know what stinks about this? I'm finally getting comfortable and warmed up, and it's 7:33. So now,
first of all, don't worry about it. You've been fantastic, and you have mighty. Whenever I say mighty big shoes to fill, I hear the what's his name? Crane, Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons. Mighty big shoes to fill. One of the oldest episodes of The Simpsons. But you're doing first of all, this is fantastic because you are quite knowledgeable. I'm going to bring it here. And look at this. Okay, so Colin Rugg, here we go. Let's hear this.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now. They're driving that price up because if you want your client and your famous actor to not be involved, or famous singer to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those. This is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties, he was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out. He does not want it to come out. Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films.
We know that Diddy filmed people as well, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he had the same camera setup that Epstein had. Give or take.
You know what? I think people assume that there are tapes because everyone has said there are, but I don't know that we've ever seen one.
Well, I mean, I presume it would be digital at least. Okay, let's finish this because I got an interesting theory about why I don't buy what Baldwin is saying here.
So people that are very, very powerful political figures, and entertainers, business people. So do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? And of
course not.
Of course not. Yeah. Okay, so there's other theories that he's in Lebanon. He never died at all. That having the weight of owning those films right now over people. So will Donald Trump release those films? I believe Donald Trump probably has a lot of friends that are in those videos too. I don't know if it behooves him to release them either. But what happens if iconic African Americans or iconic Japanese Americans or iconic Anglo Americans, former presidents, so what happens if they're in those videos? What does that do to the herding of the sheep? I mean, because I believe that's exactly what we're experiencing.
All right, that's interesting. The reason for which I don't believe that there's a bidding war for these tapes is because I believe that they're digital, and a bidding war is on a digital entity is absolutely illusory.
Yeah.
And so, like the idea that you can't buy ownership of these things because they exist anywhere, and you're just wasting, you're blowing money. You might be buying secrecy, but then the idea that it has to do with the tape. You ever gotten those scam emails, the scam things on your phones, and it says, "Send me crypto. I've got a video of you naked" or something. I was like, sell it, dude. I don't really give a crap. there's no point paying off that type of extortion because they have it's never going to go away. So if there's a digital version, it's never going to go away. And I don't believe there's any form of physical custody that can possibly ensure that, contrary to the Epstein tapes. But yeah, I do you remember back in, well, you looked into this. There was the urban legend that there was a video of Clinton with an underage girl on Epstein Island.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Why would we not believe it?
The question would be how, well, no, then there's no question as to how it would not be publicly disclosed, because if they disclose, this is what I'm trying to figure out. How can disclosure not violate the laws, and how can the public ever become aware of the existence of this tape without themselves violating the law by being in possession of it?
Or seeing it, watching
or seeing it. Or
can't.
Don't, like I felt dirty enough when I was Googling Frazzle Drip and looking up podcasts, but like you don't put those words in your search engine. The only question is whether or not it makes a difference if they come in and do it for you. There's no way to disclose that, to view it, to publish it without breaking the law. And that's sort of the catch-22 about what I thoroughly believe did in fact occur.
Wow. Yeah. What are they going to do? They can't release the tapes with like boxes over the minors' faces. Like,
I mean, Eve, I don't know that would even do it legally protected. I mean, if you get like some hacker who then gets a big screen and blasts it on the side of a building, there's no way to disclose that. But I thoroughly believe that like the vast majority of international politics and American policy has been dictated by blackmail.
Yeah.
Via Epstein and others.
All the way back, even into the 40s and 50s, that was happening. Yes. Who is Johnny Gosh, I believe is the name of one of there was an FBI agent. Now, this is going back years now, like 10 years. So just bear with me on my memory. But there was an FBI agent who was investigating the disappearance of a young boy, and uncovered this kind of web or ring of all of this that was going on into the White House and out of the White House via tunnels and things like that. And his last name it started with the G. Can't believe it. I really pushed this into the attic of my memory. And it tied into Aquino and all kinds of other stuff. And it's a rabbit hole and a half. It's bad stuff. But there was something else that I was going to say that was different than that. It would be re-victimizing Viva. It would be re-victimizing the victim, right? Didn't they sue Pornhub for that?
Pornhub, the issue was... No, I think with Pornhub, the issue is that they were not taking off what was allegedly non-consensual material.
Yeah. So those people were being re-victimized every time someone played the video of them that they did not consent to being put up there. So basically the people were using revenge porn against them, and Pornhub was platforming it, and they were being victimized every single time. So I don't know that would be a net benefit for anyone to see videos like that. Is something happening?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I can no longer toggle between screens without my face getting lit up. And then it looks like, and then that I'm doing. I'm following the chat and everything. But
that's
no,
okay.
I know, and I think you're 1,000% right about that.
I sent you another video too.
Oh, hold on. What's the Twitter?
Look at this. I'm sending you videos.
The Liz variant. Hold on. I got my only neuroses. I don't want to pop it up and have like someone.
No. It's a Piers Morgan interview.
Well, let's hear this. Let me see who's in this video. Okay, this dude right here. I won't say that. I don't know who these people are. Okay.
They're the influencers that they were bribed.
This influencer was approached by private investigators because of her coverage of P. Diddy. They offered. Okay, let's hear this.
I've had a very interesting experience with Diddy. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so just yesterday, we had two private investigators, the day before yesterday, go ahead and visit an old residence of mine. They showed up at the door. Now, a friend of mine remains at that residence. She answered the door. These two men were claiming to be there to talk to me about my YouTube channel, whether or not I received funding for any of the stories or topics that I cover on my show. She ended up giving me a call. I was able to speak to these two men as they were at her door. And through lots of probing and asking them several questions about who they work for and why why they were at my door. They end up admitting that they are private investigators who are working on behalf of a client that they would not disclose, traveling around to the houses of influencers, knocking their doors and trying to figure out whether or not they've been paid by a certain institution, company, entity to discuss P. Diddy's lawsuits and his connection to other celebrities. Now, upon finding out that I was not paid, they also let me know that had they found out I was paid by a certain company, entity, client, they would offer to pay me to disclose exactly who that was. And they'd like to know the business deal that I made with them in order to pay me more to promote the opposite narrative. So obviously I was taken aback by this visit. Very, very strange.
They're not even trying to hide it. And then Busby posts the transcript, like we were talking about in the beginning, about how they did the same thing to the person they were trying to get flip on him. It's the same people. That's why I think it's Diddy. I mean, it's Jay-Z.
Yeah, I mean, but that's fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that qualifies as illegal. That's to be expected. Like,
it's not illegal.
People with money, they want to. Yeah, okay. Let's push other narratives. Holy crab apples. Yeah. So you're following the Diddy case now. As of now, who are some of the bigger players that have been definitively named that are involved in this? I mean, I don't want to get back into the frazzle drip stuff, but it's going to get back there. The Diddy connection to DeGeneres.
Oh gosh. Oh, let's not do this. Tom Hanks. I mean, let's not. Oh no. We don't have to.
Okay.
It's everyone you love. It's everyone you've ever watched and loved in your life. They're involved. That's what
I can tell you. I've never loved DeGeneres. I don't think I've ever loved Tom Hanks. He was great and saved. What is the deal with Tom Hanks? He left the country. He went to Greece. But what are these sinister accusations against Tom Hanks?
There's rumors. I'm not even going to repeat
about him with young people
in general. What about Kevin Spacey? Same thing. There's rumors about all these folks.
Rumors and
that they're wearing sweatshirts with the same logos on them. It looks very cult-like. They're all at these, like the Lady Gagas of the world at the Marina Abramovich parties. It's.
See, when I went down that rabbit hole, I'm just going to bring this up. I'm not going to play the video. This is where Ellen, because there's a picture of Ellen wearing the same sweater as P. Diddy, and everyone's seen it, and people are suggesting,
Jay-Z wears that.
Jay-Z. Okay, that makes even more sense now. Actually, this is the image is itself it's originally of Basquiat. It's a Basquiat painting or a drawing. Basquiat apparently has also some very shady history, but it's not. It predates the frazzle drip rumors, and that's the frazzle drip rumors of a video of Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton doing monstrous things to a child. So it predates it, that image. Now, the thing is, has it gotten co-opted? It's very weird that Ellen DeGeneres and Jay-Z are wearing this sweater for no better reason. It's from a company called Whiteout. Hold on, let me see.
It's like the Balenciaga stuff that.
But it's okay. So what's up with the Balenciaga stuff?
Balenciaga, the bags, the kids, and the ads with the bags. Just do children's ads Balenciaga, and you'll see it.
I think I've seen this already, but hold on.
And that's why you reached out to me. This is why, because of the Hillary Clinton laptop, the Anthony Weiner laptop with the Hillary Clinton stuff on it. And then Eric Prince came out right before the election in 2016 and said that they had threatened the officers at the New York field office and at the NYPD that if they moved forward with what they were going to expose that they found on the laptop, that they would be held accountable and basically they would be retaliated against. And then years later, remember Andrew McCabe leaked to the Wall Street Journal about Trump and all kinds of stuff? The IG did an investigation into Andrew McCabe. And in there, I was able to corroborate that Eric Prince was telling the truth about everything he had said on that interview with the laptop, because it was Loretta Lynch, who was the current attorney general, and Andrew McCabe basically threatening the NYPD that they would come after them for the arrest of Eric Garner. And it was the same. Eric Garner was the guy, or the killing of Eric Garner. He was the guy that was smoking cigarettes that.
Yeah. And they put him in a choke that also resulted in him dying.
Yes. And then they attempted to go after these officers over and over again for that. Well, Eric Prince came out and said in 2016, he said, They're saying that if the people I know inside the NYPD go public with what they found on the Anthony Weiner laptop that involves Hillary Clinton, that involves children, etc., then they're going to hold, they're going to come after them for what happened in the Eric Garner case. And that's what Eric Prince said in this interview on Breitbart.
Eric Prince gave the interview with Breitbart.
Yes. I have it linked in the thread that I did on this back then. It has 30,000 retweets. This thread went absolutely bonkers.
Well, if you share me that one. So Eric Prince, So Eric Prince gives an interview and he says that, did he see the laptop? This is Anthony Weiner's laptop.
And it's Anthony Weiner's laptop. They got Anthony Weiner's laptop. They were going through it and they found all kinds of very criminal, stuff that had to do with child pornography and other things. And they were going to do a press conference to discuss what they had found on that laptop. It was right before the election in 2016. And they were going to go live with that press conference. And they got a call from Maine Justice, which is Loretta Lynch, telling them if they did it, that they would be arrested and go to jail for what happened to Eric Garner. And, everybody at the time thought it's just a rumor. Eric Prince doesn't know what he's talking about. But the IG report that McCabe, was investigated under for his leaks to the Wall Street Journal, it corroborates what Eric Prince said years prior in that interview with Breitbart. It corroborates it. And so it's in the Clinton email report. There's also comments about that laptop and what was on it.
That's very weird.
It's bad. I'm going to find it for you.
Can you can see me now?
Did you disappear?
I did disappear for a bit.
I thought you were just glued to what I was saying. I was on another screen.
Well, and I thought the feds came and cut my internet because
sorry.
No, see, hold on. I'm not seeing the internet, Mayor.
You're still there.
Well, this is very funny.
Not surprised.
Mayor, could you reboot the computer? Reboot the internet?
Oh, we're gonna get disconnected.
Hold on. This is very, very weird. We're breaking up. Hold up, peeps. That's very weird. Internet cut out at I'm tethering off my phone at a very weird time. Okay, let's see if I can get back on the internet. I don't Mary, yeah? Can you restart the internet? Please. Tracy, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think the word tethering, as the children use it. We're going to go reboot our internet. I am not connecting these two dots. That's just very funny, given where we were at with that specific aspect of the discussion. Eric Prince is he's the founder of Blackwater, or was he okay, so he's the founder of Blackwater. Is he a good dude or a bad dude?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's on Team Trump.
Okay.
I can't speak. I don't know him personally, so I don't know.
You are definitely having issues. I just got from one of our boys at Locals. Yeah, I'm gonna try. It's very
my fault. I'm sorry.
I don't want to say it's the subject matter because I'm not that level yet, but that was right at the point. My wife is going to reboot the internet, so we'll see if it comes back.
I'm finding this thread. I can't.
Oh, right. Apparently one of our kids might have accidentally unplugged the internet. Those sons of... Destroy her!
It's good timing.
It's good timing. My goodness, I should have just let the illusion of potential...
no, never let the illusion.
I'm joking, Tracy. Although now they're going to say, my kid's a Fed. That's what they're going to get. It's going to come back in a second. Let's see what it says. You're coming through fine now. It's just low resolution. Yeah, because I'm tethering off my iPhone. And the internet will come back after it's going to take a few minutes. Here we go. Hold.
I lost him completely now. I don't know if I'm alone or what. Here it is. He's just frozen. Can anybody see me? Am I still alive? I'm going to paste this here. I don't know if I'm still actually being seen by anybody. Oh yeah, you can see me. Hi. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll carry the show while Viva's not here because that's what I'm going to do. I did this thread back in 2018. It has 32,000 retweets. I'm gonna pin it to my profile right now at Tracy Means. If you guys want to go read it, go through it line by line, watch all the videos. Now he's gone completely, and I'm just streaming on Viva Show. Hello. I'm taking over. He's probably losing it right now. I'm not going to be inappropriate or do anything silly. But yeah, it's pinned to the top of my X profile now. Go through it, read it all. It's all receipts upon receipts upon receipts. Go through it, read it all. Here he is.
The feds came.
I was just hosting your show for you.
Well, you were doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Thank you. Okay, so now I can stop panicking. The feds did not come and cut the internet outside. It was my kid. For Lord knows what reason. Let me just make sure I didn't lose everything in the backdrop. Okay, I've still got everything going on in locals. We're good.
Can you see the last thing I put in the chat?
Let me see if I go to private chat. No, can you put it back in?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. This is the thread that has the Eric Prince interview was in here.
Okay, so now we're going here. Oh, geez, Louise, this is why I tell you, like, the conspiracy trauma quickly leads to you to have your first reflex is conspiracy. The feds came and shut down the stream because we started talking about this. All right, scrolling down, where do I go here?
There, no, that's Rudy Giuliani. He's involved too.
Okay, I'm going through this later on tonight. This is going to be.
You have to. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Where is it? Hold on.
Let me see here. Go back up. Okay, so OIG, Office of Inspector General bombshell. Hidden within the OIG report on McCabe's leak to Barrett of the Wall Street Journal is an astronomically damning correlation between Loretta Lynch, New York Field Office, McCabe, NYPD. Please share. Oh, dude, the post was deleted. Your number 2 was deleted. McCabe, amongst others.
It wasn't.
What happened to it?
I didn't delete it.
Okay.
They just took it out. It's at the end. I had to re-put it. But I put the Breitbart interview in the chat here for you.
Let me see that. Let me go back there. Yeah, because when I rebooted the stream, now I've lost the Breitbart interview. Oh my goodness.
It's that last link.
Yeah, and now I'm going to bring this up. Hold on. I got to close one of these windows because I'm losing them here. Okay, stop here. Present. And we're going to go to here. All right. What do I do? Is it the audio here?
It's that. Let me see if I've got a timestamp.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes. Because the rumor was that there was somebody who said that they had seen what was on that Eric Weiner laptop and police and hardened investigators were throwing up.
Yep. And he said that in this interview.
Eric Prince said this. And what was his role in seeing or accessing what was on the computer?
I don't know. He just had well-placed sources inside of the NYPD.
Okay. And that's very interesting.
Once you listen to this interview and then take the time to actually read through that thread,
it's gonna blow my mind in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I don't like conspiracy theories. I really don't, because I think there's a lot of them and they're very irresponsible and they make wild leaps and they send people on tangents that are just disappointing only because you're spending a lot of energy and capital and changing your personality and bringing yourself down over things that are just not necessarily true, right? That right there that you're going to read later, that is, you could win a murder case with what's in that thread.
And by the way, I did also find the Balenciaga business here. Child Rescue Coalition finds this ad campaign disturbing. Our mission is to protect children's innocence. And what is the issue? That it's BDSM because these little dolls.
It gets worse.
We're not going to go there. That's just there's no depth to Yep.
Celine Dion's clothing line did the same thing.
Tracy, let me see if I didn't lose. Let's just change the topic to something good. Biltong, I believe, is in the house over at Rumble. Okay, Crash Bandit says, Viva, watch this video from Colin Noir on the guns. P.S. on the guns. P.S. You could 3D print the lower and use a standard Glock gun parts for the upper plus suppressor. I will certainly go and watch that afterwards. Let me go put this over here.
I love that you do that. I do the same thing when people send me stuff.
Oh, we've got a massive locals community. Although this is the Rumble community, although I think there's massive overlap. They are
Brilliant.
is not the word. I mean, it's this is how. There's a reason why 4chan could find where Shia LaBeouf put the frickin'
flag.
He will not divide us flag, because there's smart people out there, a lot smarter than intelligence, so-called intelligence. Okay, then we got the challenge. End with a white pill. We're going to get there, I think. And then we're going to go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com afterwards. Alex Davy Duke says, I'm informed and I was off work in 2016 to 2018. I followed all of the events around the DNC and the John Tony Podesta Pizzagate. I'm astonished I didn't know about Tracy Beans, who impresses me as amazing. This is what I love, by the way, also. It's like, there's so many people, there's so many communities out there, and when you discover new people and then the communities sort of overlap but also collide, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
King of Biltong, if you don't know who he is, and I don't know if you're looking for sponsors or what, I don't know who Anton is helping these days, but he makes an amazing product. Give the gift. This is not an ad, by the way. The ad was Crowd Health. Check it out. Link in the description. Give the gift that keeps on giving this festive season. Reduce climate change. Eat more Biltong. We will ship to your loved ones door to door. Use code VIVA10, 10% off. BiltongUSA.com. It's amazing.
What is it?
It's beef jerky it's like prosciutto, but with beef.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hold on.
Jerky. It's freaking delicious.
Is there sugar in it?
I would have to. I'll check my bag in a second. There might be sugar, but I don't think so. It's so good. It's just
He's
delicious.
a genius, by the way. He's a genius.
Anton Biltong?
Yes.
In terms of like bang for your buck, actual
Yes.
advertising. I don't want to say. I'm surprised Rumble. There's no caveat that I know of where Rumble can say like anybody you pay for Rumble rant, I'll read them, and I won't read anything that's a death threat or anything, but like it's also the product is amazing. I've got tons of it. It's delicious. And he streams Friday and Sundays, 4 p.m., 3 p.m. Central. Shit talking whilst cooking real food. He's Australian, so he says whilst. Follow our channel, Eat at Anton's, and join us for fun cooking and chats. Tracy, let us try to leave with this a white pill here. What are you working on these days above and beyond what we've already discussed? Like, let me ask you this. It's a very indiscreet question. You're doing this for a living now. How do people support you?
Thank you. Yes, it's very hard. You probably know it's not easy. I do a podcast 5 days a week. Now it'll start January. It'll go 5 days a week. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's the title of it's not released yet. Right now it's called Dark to Light.
It will be live?
It will be live. It's
Okay.
live. As of now, it's live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30 in the morning. It just so happens when the new year start, I decided to kick it up a notch and go 5 days. I've been doing this for 6 years, this podcast. So we're just kind of raising the bar. You can go to uncoverdc.com/support to support our work. And also on my X page, I've got all the things,
uncoverdc.com. And I'm going to give everybody that link right now, and I'm going to share it so that they can see it. No, because it's first of all, it's a hard life because you have to be always working. You basically have to pretty much be always not wrong. You can be not right, but you can't be not. You have to be not wrong, and you have to not screw up. And it's a tough thing. And you got to be not ahead of the news, but you got to be just reliable source. And it's a tough reputation, and it's a tough standard to maintain.
It is. And I'm never first. Never. Very rarely. I've been first a few times. Like we broke the Tulsi Gabbard. We broke the Tulsi Gabbard story about the TSA that we were first on.
Mm-hmm.
We've done firsts. We broke the traditional Latin mass FBI targeting story. Kyle Seraphin broke that with me at Uncover DC. But most of the time we wait and we get it right. And that's really all I'm concerned with journalism. As far as a white pill goes, though, my podcast is a mix of the news and information. And I always, always, always end off on something positive, uplifting. We are in such amazing times right now. Everything is changing. We're alive for it. We're here for it. And the only thing that we have control over is literally right now. You have control over your thoughts. And right now, be healthy in mind, body, and spirit. And then you are ungovernable. That's kind of my motto. So
it's not bad. My wife says whenever I have moments of panic, she says that you can only focus on the things that you can, or you should only emphasize on the things that you can actually control. And that is home, immediate surroundings, And then beyond that, if a nuke goes off in New Jersey, I mean, what the hell can I possibly do about it? Just hope it's quick and painless.
They're going to take me when God will take me when it's my time. There's no reason to fear it. It happens when it's supposed to every time, and everybody has it happen. So, I mean, just have fun, for goodness sakes. Smile
I'll tell you
and
one
have
thing.
fun.
Look, I've never been in this. I went political back like 2017, 2018. And it's just get more and more interesting year after year. And this has been it's been the wildest last 6 months since July and Trump turning his head. It's renewed. I don't know if it's spirituality or whatever, but not necessarily a faith in an organized religious God.
Yeah.
It's renewed, or at least confirmed to me, that there are actually forces for good out there and not just forces for evil.
Yeah.
And we're living through it.
Amazing.
There was one chat. King of Biltong says, does Tracy want to get in contact? Maybe we can do something on her channel. Maybe she would like to try it. Anton, I will talk with. Well, Tracy, we're not going to talk after this. I'll DM you afterwards because I'm going to go over to Locals and do the after party. But let me see if anyone on Locals has any specific questions for you, or if I missed any. My dog.
I'm a carnivore and I don't eat any sugar. So if there's any sugar in it, I can't do it. So I'll just save him just in case.
Okay. I find myself very attracted to this Beans character. Can you ask her if she likes? I just lost the. Let me refresh here because that was a tipped question. It was a $10 tip. Okay, I'm going to go to tipped. I hope you don't mind jokes, by the way. We got more prayers for RB. I'll get to all of these later, but I just want to see if there's anything specifically for Tracy. I find myself very attracted. This is from I Hate Death, who's also, I make the same joke every time. I also fear death. Ask her if she likes overweight software engineers. My love language is C++. I'm just being stupid. Please do not take this seriously. I don't know what C++ is.
It's a programming language.
Let me see if there's any questions over here in the side. Okay. I don't think there are. Tracy, it's been amazing. I'll call you after this and we'll say our proper goodbye. So ordinarily I would end it, but I'm going to go over to Locals and I don't want to burden you with staying for the Locals after party.
Have fun. And thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
We will do this again, guaranteed. And if I may be on your podcast in the new year, it would be an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Done. Tracy,
and
one day we'll go dive down that deep, dark rabbit hole. Maybe not. I should stop. Okay. It's the proverbial ring. It's like you look at that video. Was it The Ring, the movie? Which movie was it? It was The Ring. When they watch the movie and then evil forces come and get them. It's a proverbial ring.
Yeah. It's bad. Read that thread though. You have to promise me.
1,000% promise.
Okay.
Tracy,
Thanks.
we talk soon. Have a good one.
Thank you guys.
All right, people, let me get the dog. Oh, you want to say hi, Pudge? Come here. Oh, I got her. Check it out. Is she going to poop? Who knows? No one ever knows if Pudge will poop. Oh, she smells so good. She has no idea that she's going to go to a kennel for the holidays. Woo. This is Pudge with her little thing there. Okay, that's gross. Everybody, I'm gonna wash my hands a little later. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. Okay, let's see what's going on. Blessings, Tracy. Love your work, says Vezrez. Amazing guest. Very informed, says Lake Wanderer. Sweet Doge says burn to eat toast. Hey, she knows programming languages. Bye, Pudge. Viva, get a new dog. Monkey Grip. I would love to get a. Oh, as you said that, she came. Hold on, I'm gonna let her out so she stops annoying me. Go. Oh my gosh. They've both gotten so flipping annoying with that door. One day I'm going to break that door down. I tell you what. Where's Barnes? Barnes was unable to make it tonight. So sick of those effing dogs, says OQN. Well, there's one solution for that, OQN, if you're sick of the dogs. Your solution is actually only one. Either deal with it or don't. All right. Now let me see what's going on. Barnes, feel better. We miss you, says Lupek. Deep dark holes and rings, Viva. Well, wholesome sign off. Well, what we're going to do now, we're going to go over to Viva Barnes Law for the after party. There's some tip questions. We're going to talk and have our supporters only after party because we have to thank the supporters who allow Robert Barnes and me to continue doing what me does on a daily basis, which is start internet. I won't say start internet fights, but keep the internet people honest and keep the liars exposed. That's what I like to do. Okay, we're going to end it on Rumble. If you're not, Tracy was supposed to be on tomorrow, so now I guess I'll just have a regular show tomorrow. Catch up on whatever news happens between now and then. This week, is going to be immensely stressful because I'm going to be solo parenting and it's the holidays. I totally forgot it's December and it's the holidays. So there's going to be stress. It'll be fun. And we're going to have guests and we're going to do the good stuff here. Let's get this here. Okay, so come on. Hold on 1 second. How dare I not sell our own merch before we go? Everybody, if you want to get a shirt, I just got my new shipment of shirts in and they're nice and dark and beautiful. Go to vivafry.com and you can get some merch. There's a new one coming out. There's a couple new ones coming out, but go get some merch if you want. Otherwise, you can support us on vivabarneslaw.locals.com or just snip, clip, share away because that helps everyone grow. And that is all that I have to say for tonight. Heading over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the after party. Thank you all for being here. And if you're not coming over, peace out. I will see you tomorrow. And locals, here I come. Okay, let me make sure that we're still live here. Do you know how? Let me just make sure that we're still live here. Yeah, live. Just make sure that I can hear myself talk. Clap, Viva. Boom. And now when you hear myself talk, we're live. We are. Do you know how certain I was that the feds just cut the internet as we were talking about that? I was internally panicking. But you would have never known because I've worked on my techniques. I was half waiting to hear the doorbell ring. The feds come to the door and say, Viva, you have entered into the Neverland to talk about this. You should not do that. All right, I'm going to read the tip questions. I'm going to go to the chat and we're going to have some fun here. Good evening, everybody. Schnookums says, I am shocked that an industry that presents and promotes something as WAP, which stands for wet ass the JJ with the P word, as accepted entertainment, the bar has been dropped pretty low. Schnookum says, remember, the old Soviet supposed nuclear missiles were on mobile platforms and were likely driven out of there. And on that subject, Encryptus says, there are many post-USSR nukes floating around the world. There are 8 full ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, on their trucks that were driven into Greece in the 90s. They were dismantled and put into a warehouse, and Americans took the nuclear material. I bought some stuff from that warehouse. I have some of that evidence. Would be happy to show you this stuff to you sometimes. Encryptus, I'm not sure I want to see that. The thing is this, though, from what I understand, even if you have the warhead, they don't like just detonate. Like there's a whole complicated procedure to detonate them, from what I understand. But if you want to get terrified and just say, like, what would it feel like to have been in Hiroshima or Nagasaki in 1945? And it's like, it's the stuff of nightmares. Dread Robert, Russia took their nukes back. That is one of Ukraine's complaints. Also, keeping a 1980s nuke working is a lot of work. There are questions about whether ours are in working order. If nukes are on the loose, NATO is likely the source. There is a reason to believe the U.S. government is not running these drones. There is no reason to believe the U.S. government is not running these drones. So there is every reason to believe the U.S. government is running those drones. Schnookum says, remember, radioactive materials can be attached to the conventional explosives and make them dirty bombs. True. To cause contamination. An actual working nuclear bomb is not needed, just the material they are composed of. Agreed. Then NetJess, my goodness, this is a conversation about the nuclear bombs here, the dirty bombs. A dirty radiological bomb is not a nuke. I believe the potential missing Ukrainian nukes are a similar but different threat from dirty bombs. Yeah, you just put a bunch of dirty stuff on a bomb and blow it up in a New York subway system. Sock out of here. Shoe, get that shoe out of here. Drone killings are going to happen. Obama's killing spree guarantees it. That's from Dread Robert. Dread Robert also says, War of the Worlds riots are a myth. Somehow the newspaper of the day forgot to report them. That people want to believe that the public could not understand fiction on radio shows is just insulting. Oh, Dread Robert, I would have no trouble believing it. I've heard it as well, and now that you say it's a myth, I do question whether or not it's real. But I would have no, dude. Can you imagine if an AI video of Putin saying we've just dropped a nuke or we've launched an IC? It would cause panic. It would cause. I have no difficulty believing people were thoroughly convinced that War of the Worlds was legit, was real. S_Ren says, Viva, enjoy this rabbit hole. Picatinny Arsenal is in New Jersey and filed a month-long TFR, temporary flight restriction, around it. I don't know specifically where the drones are sighted, but sure is an interesting coincidence. S-Ren, I might just go ahead and steal that knowledge, make it my own, and sound like the smartest person on the internet, unless it's already known, in which case I'm just going to share it in any event. Thank you very much for that. Pam Walker has a screen grab, and it comes from Robert Malone. And Robert Malone, who may or may not be traumatized from the last 4 years, as we all are, says, warning, another federal PSYOP campaign is in progress. Let me share this. I can share this with everybody. Here. When it's in progress. Based on the recent statements from Mayorkas DHS, it is likely that the drones in New Jersey are just this, another federal PSYOP, PSYWAR campaign to get Congress to pass the Counter UAS Authority Security Safety Reauthorization Act that are currently limited, and they are set to expire, per Mayorkas. Mayorkas on ABC News today. It is critical, as we have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our authorities currently are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them to extend and be expanded. We want the state and local authorities also to have the ability to counter growing activity under federal supervision. Afterwards, Governor Kathy Hochul, yada, 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 she called on Congress to pass the act, which would strengthen the FAA's drone oversight and give more power to the state, give states more power to investigate sightings. Conclusion, it is likely that the drones are from the feds, and all this publicity is being used to get public pressure on Congress to pass the Counter UAS Act. The feds are using MSM to put pressure on Congress. Resist the urge to believe what you read or hear on state-sponsored media. This is, again, PSYWAR on the American people. I want to pull up the article where it was. Okay, I got to leave that window open. Eric Prince window I got to leave open. I want to get rid of the Balenciaga. It was Canadian government propaganda wolves. COVID. I just want to remember what the propaganda itself was, because this was during COVID. Military saw COVID. We've already seen this because I pull it up all the time. Military leaders saw a pandemic as an opportunity to test propaganda techniques, and it was wolves. Here, the Canadian forces had to launch an investigation after a September 2020 incident when military information operations staff forged a letter from the Nova Scotia government warning about wolves on the loose in a particular region of the province. The letter was inadvertently distributed to residents, prompting panicked calls to Nova Scotia officials who were unaware the military was behind the deception. The investigation determined the reservists conducting the operation lacked formal training, and policies governing the use of propaganda techniques were not well understood by the soldiers. What the fudge? The propaganda is to make people panic about wolves being on the loose in their neighborhoods? What is it, just to see like what happens when people panic? Ganthet says the Sixth Amendment gives you the right to face your accuser. If you're going to accuse someone, guilty of sin or not, you have the right to face them in court. Not all of us have millions like Johnny Depp to fight false abuse, rape allegations. Also, you don't have a right to privacy while in public. If you're on the street, you can be filmed. That's what I'm on the fence about in terms of like the accusers not being named. Now that I say it out loud, it's not them being Jane Doe to the public does not mean that they're Jane Doe to who they're accusing. And so I don't think it's a question of P. Diddy or Jay-Z not knowing who they are. They want the rest of the world to know who they are, which is different. In a case where they could get meaningful harassment, like, you know, I'm going to double check that because they're known. The accusers are known to the accused. So it's not like they don't get the chance to face them. It's a question of whether or not they're known to the world in the public proceedings. Although I do agree that proceedings are public as a general rule, except exceptions with kids and whatnot. Schnookum says, did you say mild OCD? It's a blessing and a curse. That's all that I keep telling myself. MSC, that is Military Security Council, 8503. You don't need to read this out loud, and I won't get this till tomorrow because I have to put my kids down. I have a question, and I don't know how to send you a private message. Okay, let me see. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. I would love to ask you about interviewing you. My buddy Felix and I have started a podcast on Rumble 8 to 10 months ago called Top Conversations. All right, let me go send someone a quick email right now. It's me. Okay, done. Sent. I would love to ask you. Okay, fine. You are and it says, would love to have you on for one of our first. You are a huge inspiration to me. I've sent you the email now. MSC. I hate death. Back in the house. I find myself. Oh, I got this one. Okay, I find myself very attracted. Beavis Wallace says, Beavis Wallace in the house. Tracy is an awesome guest. Really enjoying the show. Grobert thinks the drones and wars are part of the chaos Democrats are creating before Trump enters office. What's Tracy's opinion? Oh, we talked about that. I'm concerned that they're actually setting the groundwork so that they can have a drone attack on, God forbid, and I'm not using God's name in vain right now. God forbid. I really actually just smashed my finger. God forbid. That's God punishing me for using God's name. God forbid that they're laying the groundwork for a drone attack on Mar-a-Lago, and they're going to say, "Look, what could we have done? We did our best. We don't." And this is like priming the public to not think it's a grotesque security failure to not be able to prevent that. And I've relayed my concerns to people who I think are close enough to relay those concerns. Finboy Slick says, Conspiracy of Silence 1993 was a documentary about the link between Boys Town, Larry E. King, and the White House. That's from way before Epstein and Diddy. I don't know what that is. Finboy Slick says, Celine Dion's clothing line thing was so weird that they parodied it in the Bye Bye Viva. Screen grab that. We need to see more Viva and Beans, says Adam Carter. Yeah, I love, first of all, it's nice you meet people and you what's the word? Synergize better with some than others, but Tracy is a skilled podcaster, as is Ian Carroll, as is Mike Benz. I mean, it's a muscle to develop, but she's amazing. USA Now says more prayers for RB. Seems to need strength to endure medical and or legal issues. Yeah, I was listening to Barnes's most recent Bourbon with Barnes and dealing when he's describing those effing labor lawyers. My goodness, I can relate, and I couldn't last. So that's my weakness. Ithaca 37 Cato says members of the deep state should be called the Decepticons. That's not bad. Roostang, if this drone situation was a legitimate enemy pre-attack, one would think that the Air Force would have authorized the scrambling of squadrons of F-15 Eagles from the Joint Base Andrews in Maryland to engage and blow them into tiny bits over the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, assuming they're coming from a mothership over the Atlantic. They're not. And you don't need an F-15 to take down a freaking drone. You don't even need lethal force to take down a drone. Dread Robert says, so they block drones from bringing supplies after hurricane in North Carolina. The government needs less power, not more. Everyone would agree with that. Neurodivergent says, David, I sent you an email. I forgot to change the subject line, so it has the same typo you sent me. Subject line is MW. Okay, I'm going to look for that. And Ithaca 37 Cato, do the wellness company's medical emergency kits have iodine pills for radiation exposure? The kits I've seen on Viva Barn Law, I'm certain that one, I want to say it, I'm certain that they do, that one of them does. It depends which ones you get. TWC.com. Hold on. /Viva. Let me see here. And I'm sure that one of them does, because there was a whole thing about TWC.com /Viva. That's not the wellness company. I'm sure they do, because there was one. I remember, they had one that was talking about the anti-radiation medication that the government was patenting and they were trying to hoard. Don't quote me, and I reserve the right to be wrong, but I'm fairly certain. But check the specs that they have on their order things. Same old Viva. You were clearly panicking when the internet was unplugged, says Beavis Wallace. Dude, come on. It was at the moment that we were talking about that. Holy crab apples. Beavis Wallace, thank you. Merchant Marine, just saying, hey, funny when you think you may have said something that was wrong. And Boopsy says, how long has she been a carnivore? Does she take supplements? I'll ask her that later. More prayers for RB. Okay, now I'm going to refresh here and go to the side, because I know that I was engaging with the left-hand side, which is the comment section. I can hardly wait for this one. And now I just saw one coming from Beavis Wallace. Says, the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which removed the military from regular service law enforcement, prevents the military from shooting down the drones. Only local and state law enforcement can take down the drones. I'm just saying, in terms of the technology that's required to take down a drone is not radical at all, period. So that's it. Then we got Ithaca 37 Kato says, hey, are you still selling the wellness company's medical kits? If so, where on your local site? I'll put up the link. I just said I didn't have that read today, but I'll find the link. It's from, I mean, yeah, we're always, for God's sake, hold on a second. Silly now. Google. Oh. Okay, here. It's TWC Health. Okay. Here. I'll bring it up. This is just the website in general. Share screen. Spike Detox. twchealth.com/Viva. What is this Weather Channel? Okay, whatever. We're going here. And let's just see radiation search. No. We're going to go radiation. I'll go check, people, and I'll send the link around. I thought they had that product in there. Okay, now we're going back. I cannot connect HB 8620. Okay, I don't know what higher calling is asking about there. Okay, can y'all please cover the woman who was arrested for making terroristic threats to her insurance company? I can't see any reason for why police would have considered it a true threat, but she's in jail with a $100,000 bond. Yeah, she said delay, deny, depose. We talked about it. You people are next. But was there no evidence that she was plotting or intending? You have to read the statute of the Florida law because it fits the definition of the Weather Channel. It fits the definition of the drafting of that piece of Florida statute. So I think the issue would be whether or not it's void for vagueness, unconstitutional. But man, delay, deny, depose. You people are next. Asking for trouble. Maybe they drop the charges now that she may have suffered enough, and they think they might have difficulty proving the case. Political blowback. But yeah, so we talked about that. Let's see, going over here. The other story that I think ought to be covered is Ken Paxton's suit against an abortion doctor in New York. He's alleging that she practiced telemedicine in Texas without a license and mailed prescription abortion drugs across state lines in violation of Texas law. New York has a shield law that protects New York physicians from their state participating in legal action against their residents for helping commit illegal abortions. In other states, the pregnant woman in this case ended up in the hospital hemorrhaging because of the drug. That's interesting. I know nothing of that, so I'm going to screen grab that and get to it after in a bit. And Bill Brown is posting the most beautiful picture of Maine in winter. How do I see the comments that Viva is talking about? Says T. Gnido. There's no easy way because I'm reading them as I go through without sharing the screen. Dude, my neighbor down the street went to Virginia. They were giving him the runaround. He stormed out pissed. They sent the cops with guns drawn and forced him to stay there for observations. Oh, VA, veteran affairs. Sorry, VA veteran affairs, not that's from Merchant Marine. Yeah, it's okay, we'll go up here. Viva, if that colon noir like did work, if that link. Let's hold on. Where did I just put this? Here's how it works.
Capture high quality.
Skip
Forgot. It's Christmas season, baby. And as a result of that, I'm gonna give you guys a gift. Right now, it's shop.mrcolon.
Okay, let's hear it.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Now, based on the video, it looks like the shooter was using a Glock setup similar to this.
Okay,
you can see here,
okay,
with a suppressor attached. Now, if you've seen the footage, you'll notice that after the first shot, the gun fails to cycle properly, forcing the shooter to manually rack the slide to chamber another round. This pattern repeated throughout the incident. The question is, why? Well, it boils down to one critical error in his setup.
This is 9 days ago. So this is before they discussed whether or not it was a 3D printed portion of it. I think he's going to agree with what Ian Runkle said.
He didn't use a booster. For those of you who aren't familiar with a booster is a component that goes inside of the.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not watching that. I'm going to watch it later, but this is exactly what Ian Runkle had said. And because the compression, whatever, it's muzzled, so it doesn't compress back to cycle the bullet out. And then if you have a booster, I don't know, forces the action. Okay, no, that's cool. Actually, that's I think Ian's going to be happy to hear that. That's Colin Noir's assessment as well. Let's go down here. Get your booster. Colin is on Rumble too. Says real Chris Doran. SVA123. Was the assassin racking the gun to drop the casings with the words written on it, or was it because his setup wasn't working properly? I think the consensus is it wasn't working properly. There were more than 3 rounds, and 3 of them had writing on it. Initially, they said they were live, and I don't think they were. I think some of them were live, some of them were the casings, but they were on the casings. Viva from my local council gives us potassium iodine pills 10 kilometers to a nuclear power station. Okay, that's interesting. Colin is a lawyer in Texas, says Vanguard 92. All right, now we're going to go to the side over here, which is the comment section. It says, I really do wish we could modify this locals platform so users can combine a tip and a comment into one post. That's from Howard Duck. You obviously can, isn't it? Oh, by the way, so I have my conference call with locals tomorrow, but that's going to be for the locals Rumble merger. It's with one of the guys basically in charge of locals. I'll start a separate thread also for improvements to locals, so I can flip that to the team as well. So I'll do that immediately after this stream. Finboy Slick says, Viva, is there a rule against having Tracy on the show twice in a row? Why cancel her visit tomorrow? There's no rule, but I just feel like I'm not going to. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Also, we've got to have some news to talk about tomorrow. Neurodivergent says, Viva, we saw what I'm pretty sure was a radiation detection drone in Orange County, New York, a couple of weeks ago. Don't scare me. Then we got VH Mike 73 says subsonic ammo suppressor equals failure to cycle. That's likely the issue he had. Yes, and from what I understand, the booster would have resolved that issue. Although I don't really know anything more than that. All right, now let's keep going down here on the side. Viva. This is from Mopholo, Mopholo. It's a start until they are ruined beyond repair. It's not enough. I want to see him homeless, blowing hobos for a can of corn. Yeah, but I asked you who you're talking about. I don't know who that comment was directed at. And now Mr. Mike put up a link from Alex from the Duran. The drone psyop is just that, and move on. Christopher nailed it this morning and all. Well, it's a 28-minute episode, so we're not going to be able to do that. Viva, don't tease us with the thumbnail with your shorter hair. You looked so good. Miss that hairdo, says freedom always. But I like my hair. But I like the stairs. Justin Trudeau. Okay, what else? The alleged CEO assassin. You're right, and I changed the description. This is from L. Farmer. I think with an attorney who was an ex-prosecutor, Luigi will go free. First, because he did not do it. Second, because the people love this guy. It will be hard for a jury to convict. I don't think you'd get jury nullification if the evidence were there. But you might get suspending disbelief if they want to we don't know who actually pulled the trigger because we don't see who's in that video. And then we're going to scroll down here. Considering who Louis Mangione's parents are, why wouldn't they have an elite attorney? That was from Serena Serenoa Repens. Then we got Miller0955. Viva, what is the status of the new FinCEN reporting requirement? I heard a nationwide injunction was slapped on it by a Texas judge. The IRS says it's going to appeal. I do not know. Period. Finboy Slick, who seems to have gotten the style of getting my eyes by tagging me. Don't you dare getting a short hair without starting with the sides first. He's going to want he wants that mullet without. Okay, everybody can hear me now. That was way back in the day. Viva, how can you not know about Project Bluebeam? No, I know about Project Bluebeam, but not in as thorough. This is from Dan WYO. I know of Project Bluebeam, but by no means as well as Project Mockingbird. Hold on one second. Project. It was the idea of like faking an alien invasion, to make people freak out, if I'm not mistaken. Project Bluebeam. It's a conspiracy theory which claims that NASA is attempting to implement New Age religion with the Antichrist and its head and start a new world order via technologically simulated second coming. The allegations is that the Project Bluebeam? That doesn't sound like what I thought. Serge Mona, Quebec conspiracy theorist. He's most known for promoting the Project Blue. Serge Mona, this is funny, is a Quebec conspiracy theorist Holy cows. Well, we're going down a little rabbit hole here. It's from Wikipedia, and we will take it for what it's worth. A Quebec conspiracy theorist. He's known for promoting the Project Bluebeam conspiracy theory, which posits a plot to facilitate a totalitarian world governed by destroying the Abrahamic religions and replacing them with New Age belief system using futuristic NASA technology, and involving a faked alien invasion or fake extraterrestrial encounter meant to deceive nations into uniting under a world government. It's cool. Is he dead? 1945 to 1996. How did he die? That makes him 51 years old. Biography. He died of a heart attack at his home on December at age 51. Okay, interesting. Don't get me started on the fears of dying from a heart attack. Why do I want to read that? All right, we're going to go up here and see if I missed any tipped questions. Found the wellness company's medical kit. Good. That's from Ithaca 37 Cato, and I'll give everybody the link to that. Yeah, I was certain that they had it. Z-Pack, amoxicillin, but I'm not sure that that's the one that had the radiation element in it. But anyway, you can check that out. Okay, awesome. Locals. Hey, are you still selling the wellness company's medical kit? If so, are the locals okay? There you got it. It's the wellness twc.health, and I think it's /Viva. twc.health/Viva. There we go. Yes. twc.health/Viva. Here. Take it, everyone, and link if you want it. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. Everybody. We will pray. Well, best wishes for Barnes. It's and we'll see what else is going on here. I'm going to go to the general comment section. It's not a Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from Nakatomi Plaza. It is a Christmas movie, and just going to go read some of the chat here. It was a climate change that killed him, says Bill Brown. Finboy Slick, he died getting too close to the truth. I don't think there's going to be a rapture, says Dashman91. And that is it. People, my stomach is starting to grumble. And that will be the time to end this wonderful evening of Viva. Stands the Barnes, but he'll be back. And maybe we'll catch up on the Sunday if we can do it at some point throughout the week. And the next week's schedule is going to be intense. Going back to Canada on Saturday. Solo parenting all week. Dogs. And the smell and sounds of holiday spirits. So it'll be fun. I'll be live tomorrow, people. So stay tuned and don't worry. And thank you all for being here. It was fantastic. I'm going to thank Tracy. I'm going to call her now and say our proper goodbyes via the telephone. People still talk. And I'm going to go make myself a nice dry martini because I got a new gin. I forget which one. But it doesn't matter. Go and enjoy the night. Thank you all for being here, locals. Sincerely, thank you for the support, for the criticism, for keeping me on the straight and narrow, and for being part of this amazing community. And I hope it was a good one. And I will see you all tomorrow, peeps. Peace out.